Hi everyone, please subscribe to my channel. Blood Immortal. See playlist for other chapters and novels. Join now our Telegram channel now and enjoy exclusive early access. t.me/blood_immortal_official. I do not translate the novels. Credits goes to original translator and author of the novel. I only make it as an audiobook so it would be easier to just listen while doing other things. Credits goes to the author of the novel. I convert stories to audiobook for mental health, for multitasking purpose, for accessibility and time saving. Listening to audiobook is also beneficial for people who have disability. It improves our listening skills and improve our English comprehension, vocabulary and other things. So, thank you for listening. Thank you and thank you very much for your support. Chapter 541, Mother *C King Human King. Chapter 541, Mother *C King Human King. For those beings of the thousands of races out there who had had their fair share of torments, the sight of Lin Fan's graceful demeanor was etched into the core of their hearts for the rest of their lives. No matter how they tried, they could never bring themselves to forget this noble figure. But, the disciples of the 6 major sects were filled with bewilderment. Could this be the human who had supposedly killed the 4 commanders and the million ancient race soldiers? But, how could this be? A single step from Lin Fan was so far, yet so near. In the blink of an eye, he appeared right before all of them. The sides of his robes floated gently against the breeze while his fine black hair danced in the air. His face was relaxed as he looked down on the entire world while glaring at the ancient race. He then frowned, as though he was puzzled. I've already slain all the ancient race beings here. Why are there still more appearing now? Under the watchful gaze of the masses, Lin Fan commented casually. His voice was calm, as though there were yet another few ants who had entered the fray, trying to cause trouble. From the words of the beings of the thousands of races, the disciples of the 6 major sects already knew that the million ancient race soldiers were killed by a single human. However, even then, they were still slightly doubtful of that fact. However, right in front of them, the very words were spouted out from the human's mouth himself. The faces of everyone from the 6 major sects began to change rapidly. Disbelief, shock, alarm, astonishment. Human Lord, please save us. Oh, great and mighty human Lord, please salvage us from this world of sufferings. Suddenly, all the beings of the thousands of races prostrated themselves under the glorious aura of Lin Fan. The strong shall reign supreme. In a world like this, they were in need of a powerful leader who could lead them out of their current predicament into the light. And, this human before them was that man they needed. Ziesheng raised his head and looked at Lin Fan. He had not expected those words of his that were thought to be bullshit to come true. With the strength of a single person, he had managed to overrun the entire Despair City. Just what sort of powers should one have in order to accomplish such a feat? Dulong exchanged glances with the other elders present. They were still in denial right now. However, they could not deny the fact that the powerful aura they had felt earlier on was emitted by this human. Who are you? Ji Yu Shao stared at this human who was floating gently in the air and frowned. He was evidently displeased at this man's insolence. The fact that this human's gaze was casual and relaxed seemed to cause Ji Yu Shao even more anger than anything else. There had truly never been any other being of the thousands of races who had dared to show him such an attitude. Lin Fan looked over at Ji Yu Shao carefully. Semi-divine celestial cultivation state. This wasn't a weak cultivation state by any chance. But alas, what a pity. Semi-divine celestial cultivation state. You can't even break through to divine celestial in one single take. Lin Fan scoffed in disdain. However, he did not realize the impact these words would cause for the rest of the people present. All the members of the 6 major sects knew of the strength of this ancient race being. However, they had not expected him to be a semi-divine celestial. Even though he was only halfway there, that was still as good as having one step through the door of that godly state. But, the way this human had remarked that fact with such contempt, just what sort of powers did this human possess? Brazen. The moment Ji Yu Shao heard this, he burst out in anger. Take down this human, I've got to see just what sort of capabilities he possesses. Yes, young master. Instantly, the 8 chamberlains following Ji Yu Shao nodded their heads as a menacing aura burst forth from them. Watch out. Elder Dulong could not help but warn out of instinct. The 8 chamberlains were extremely powerful, somewhere around their own cultivation states. Coupled with the fact that they had an innate advantage over the other races, if they were on the same cultivation states, beings of the thousands of races would definitely find it hard-pressed to go against any ancient race being. November LBJNN. But the moment he said those words, he regretted it immediately. After all, the next scene sent their sanities tumbling down the rabbit hole. Lin Fan looked at the 8 chamberlains. Desolate celestial full cultivation state. If this were earlier on, he might have required some tricks to get at them. But he no longer required stuff like that. He had received an explosive growth with all the pill popping, such that his level had risen twice. Right now, he was a desolate celestial upper-level being. Despair City had existed for 1,000 years now. In order to fill the void in his heart, the Marquis of Despair had accumulated a large number of pills. For any commoner, these pills would be treasures that were priceless. Even if they were to consume just one, they would definitely take their time to digest it. However, for Lin Fan, these were nothing but experience points. The moment he swallowed them, the system would automatically convert them into experience points which gushed into his body. With that, he broke through the experience cap for 2 straight levels instantly. Who wouldn't fear a power like this? Know your places. Lin Fan snorted coldly as his 5 fingers ripped out like a claw. Tearing through the void, an immense amount of energy burst forth. This tremendous energy rippled continuously as a gigantic palm that covered the sky descended from the heavens, grabbing out at the 8 chamberlains. What? Seeing this, all 8 of them froze up as fear filled their eyes. To them, that puny human from before had suddenly turned so terrifyingly mighty. In fact, that single claw-like swipe had sealed their own personal space as well. They were rooted there, with nowhere to run nor dodge. Young master, save us. The 8 chamberlains suddenly howled. Bam! That heavenly piercing gigantic palm caught all 8 chamberlains within its grip and squeezed. In the blink of an eye, the 8 chamberlains did not have any room to resist at all. Just like that, they were squished to death, as their pitch-black fresh blood sprayed through the skies. Ding! Congratulations on killing desolate celestial full cultivation state ancient race being. Ding! Experience points plus 50,000 feet. 8 notifications from the system appeared at the back of Lin Fan's mind. Just like that, he had received 400,000 experience points. Seemed like other than popping pills, there was nothing that could beat the experience points gained from killing ancient race beings. Lin Fan would never ever show any mercy towards the ancient race beings. Any one of them he bumped into would definitely be killed and converted into experience points. And right now, tens of thousands of pairs of eyes were fixated on him. Of course, Lin Fan felt the need to show an appropriate display of might. Taking down everything in his way with sheer brute force was the only way yours truly could ensure his name would be passed down in the history of the beings of the thousands of races. HMPH. How dare mere desolate celestial full cultivation beings act so impertinently before yours truly. Lin Fan tossed his robes and shouted at Ji Yu Xiao imposingly, you can come now. By now, all members of the 6 major sects were thoroughly stumped. Their eyeballs were open so wide that they could almost fall out of their sockets at this instant. To think that desolate celestial full cultivation beings couldn't even hold on for a single round against this human. Wasn't this way too horrific? For these members of the 6 major sects, those 8 ancient race chamberlains could be considered as invincible existences. Even Elder Dulong would not dare to claim that he could take on all of them by himself. If they were all in their peak state, they could take advantage of their numbers and probably kill these 8 chamberlains if they all struck together. However, even then, the number of casualties would be uncountable. The jaws of the beings of the thousands of races were open so widely that one could almost stuff an entire egg within them, as they glared at Lin Fan in the air with utter excitement. Yours truly is the Mother *C King Human King, Lin Fan. Today, I shall conduct the execution of all of you from the ancient race. Is there any indignance you would like to voice out? Lin Fan placed his hands behind his back as he glared at Ji Yu Xiao straight in the eye with a casual expression. Ji Yu Xiao's face was crumpled up, speechless right now. But those beings of the thousands of races erupted out in cheers. Long live the Mother *CKING Human King. I seek the Mother *CKING Human King's blessings. I, Hong Yun of the Ghost Race, am willing to follow the Mother *CKING Human King's lead forever. I wish to follow the great lead of the Mother *CKING Human King as well. By now, every single one of the beings of the thousands of races out there just wanted to hug Lin Fan's thighs desperately and serve under him. Chapter 542, Realm of Despair. Chapter 542, Realm of Despair. Lin Fan smiled calmly. This was a result he had predicted from the start. However, even under such circumstances, he had to maintain his image. After all, one's image was always the most important. He had to ensure that this image of a powerful and mysterious being was always maintained, so that it exuded off with perfection. Furthermore, how could he casually let just any being of the thousands of races hug his thighs just like that? Suddenly, Lin Fan pushed down calmly with his palm. With that, it felt like a blanket was placed over everyone, as silence spread out across the masses. Every single one of the beings of the thousands of races glared at that respectable image of a man in the sky with wide open jaws. Within the ancient saint world, how many beings of the thousands of races could dare to head over and slay a million ancient race soldiers just like this mother**Sea King human king? At the same time, looking at this human in the air, Ji Yuxiao's heart was burning with rage. Damn it, god damn it. He was the son of the sovereign King Wei, and could be considered as one of the highest classes of the ancient race beings. Back when he was born, he basked in a golden light from the heavens will. Under the warm, golden bath, he had already received the blessings of the heavens will at that very moment. Furthermore, he was someone who was poised to be one of the overlords of the ancient race. How could a mere scum of the thousands of races humiliate him in front of so many other beings? How could he endure such indignance? Hatred. His hatred was boundless right now. Human race, Lin Fan. Ji Yuxiao's face was dark right now as he growled through clenched teeth. How dare a lowlife from the thousands of races such as yourself humiliate an upper-class ancient race being? You deserve a terrible death for your sins. Looking at Ji Yuxiao, Lin Fan's lips curled into a cold grin. However, in his heart, he was busy thinking about how he should get rid of this fella here. Earlier on, when he made that comment about semi-divine celestials being ants, that was all bullshit. If he wanted to kill Ji Yuxiao, naturally he wouldn't be able to do it with the back of his palms. He might even have to pay some price if he truly wanted to kill this being right here. However, with the gaze of the beings of the thousands of races fixated on him, there was no way he could show signs of weakness right now. If they were to truly start fighting, he would try to lure this ancient race being to somewhere far before dealing with him slowly. Lin Fan was satisfied with this plan he had come up with. Alright then, that's how I shall do it later on. Ah, suddenly, a shrill, sorrowful cry rang out from the distance. Long Zhan, you've lied to me. You said that you would never leave me for all eternity. Why did you lie to me? Why, that small frame of the Marquis of Despair was hugging Long Zhan's body tightly in his arms right now. That once cute and expressionless face of his was crumpled up in anger and rage. That black fur coat that was draped on his back was stained with fresh red blood, as were his tender, white hands. Those sinister and cold eyes of that emotionless the Marquis of Despair were now filled with tears gushing out of them. Like a helpless child, he looked absolutely powerless right now. Ah, he howled out once more as a dark and terrifying power burst forth from his body. This power was even more horrifying than Doomsday itself. The moment Lin Fan turned his head around, he was stunned by what he saw. Divine Celestial Level 1. However, at this moment, the pitch-black power of despair was surging out of his body. With that, the Marquis of Despair's powers spiked up once more. In the blink of an eye, he was now a Divine Celestial Level 2. How could this be? Lin Fan frowned in disbelief. That shrill and sharp voice pierced through the void as that black power of despair gradually distorted into a shroud, covering the entire sky and caging up the Despair City altogether. This power of despair surpassed every other sort of power around it. It surpassed space. It surpassed time. Under the repressing pressure of this power of despair, everything came to a halt. Ji Yuxiao was rooted at this moment as well. He had not expected the Marquis of Despair to turn out this strong. He had already known that the Marquis of Despair had attained the Divine Celestial Cultivation state. However, that should only be a Divine Celestial Level 1 at best. To think that the amount of power that was emitted out of him right now was that of a Level 2. At the start, he had already considered the fact that he could definitely run away if the Marquis of Despair dared to turn around and try to kill him. But right now, that confidence was wavering. Retreat. Without any hesitation, Ji Yuxiao turned into a streak of light as he darted out into the distance. However, his path forward was instantly blocked by a shroud of black mist. Long Zhan, why must you lie to me? Boom. A pitch-black beam shone between the heaven and earth, sealing the whole Despair City entirely. Ding. The Marquis of Despair has broken down mentally. Entering the Marquis of Despair's realm of despair. The moment Lin Fan heard the system's notification, he was completely stunned. What in the world was happening right now? His surroundings were entirely pitch black. He couldn't even see his fingers if he were to stretch out his hands. However, he frowned. He could sense an unknown power wrapping itself around him. Ding. Discovered the Marquis of Despair's power of despair. Cultivate it. Cultivate. Without any single bit of hesitation, Lin Fan did it. To think that the Marquis of Despair would have broken down entirely. Then, this realm of despair that was created by him must definitely be bent on killing everyone in this whole place. If the system could cultivate it, he must definitely cultivate it no matter what. Suddenly, a series of wails rang out from his surroundings. By the sounds of it, these were the wails of someone who had gone entirely insane. Lin Fan listened carefully. These wails should be coming from the beings of the thousands of races. This is the Marquis of Despair's realm of despair. Everyone, stay firm to yourselves. You must absolutely not let this dark power of despair seep into your soul. Lin Fan did not know who was speaking right now. However, by the sounds of it, this should be someone from the 6 major sects. Holy FCK, SH*T has seriously turned FC King real once more. Lin Fan was feeling slightly nervous right now. To think that he would meet such troublesome issues time and again. However, the thing that was bothering him right now was how the Marquis of Despair was cultivating his powers. A few months ago, the Marquis of Despair was definitely just a desolate celestial full cultivation being. Why the hell was he a divine celestial level 1 right now? And to think that after breaking down, he would go on to break through into divine celestial level 2. Even popping pills like a junkie wouldn't produce results like these. With the cultivation process of the system going on, Lin Fan did not have to bother himself with the power of despair surrounding him. Right now, the most important thing was to find a way out to kill that Ji Xiao and this so-called Marquis of Despair. At that moment, Lin Fan caught sight of a small spot of light that was bobbing up and down in front of him. Even though Lin Fan did not know what that was, any single weird occurrence right now could mean a way for him to get out of this place altogether. Without any hesitation, Lin Fan leapt forth towards that bobbing spot of light. The moment he arrived near the light, the image before his eyes changed entirely. His surroundings were no longer dark. In fact, it was extremely bright, as he found himself located somewhere in the midst of a village. Ziguang, come and catch me. Big brother Longzhan, wait up. I can't run any further. 2 kids who were laughing happily darted by Lin Fan. Could that be when Longzhan and the Marquis of Despair were kids? Lin Fan looked at his surroundings in astonishment. His heart was skipping faster as well. What a strange place this was. Suddenly, the image changed once more. He is a B********************* child. Kill him. Within the village, a bunch of people from the dragon race had a single child tied up to a thick beam. All of them were glaring at that child with hatred and detest in their eyes. The image changed again. I'm Longzhan, what's your name? A small kid was dangling a strand of grass in his mouth as he stood before another kid who had buried his head in his knees. This kid who was standing up stretched out his palm with a bright and dazzling smile on his face. Ziguang, the other vulnerable kid, whose face was pale and whose eyes were filled with fright, replied feebly. Just as Lin Fan was watching the scene, it changed yet again. Big brother Longzhan, don't ever leave me, alright. Ziguang's eyes were filled with hope. For sure, I'll never ever leave little Guang. Big brother Longzhan, where are you? Within the village, a lost Ziguang was looking around frantically and helplessly. N-O-V-E in .c ohm. Burn him. He's a B********************* child. He's a B************ child of the ancient race. Big brother Longzhan, didn't you say that you'll never leave me? You lied. Tied on the thick beam, Ziguang was crying out at the top of his lungs. Are you feeling despaired right now? Do you require power? Power which could allow you to destroy everything in your way. Within the darkness, a sinister pair of eyes was witnessing the entire happenings. Everyone has betrayed me. I need power. The village descended into a sea of flames as everyone within perished entirely. Image after image, Lin Fan was just swimming through them right now. Eventually, that kid that had massacred the entire village left. Tens of years later, a handsome and suave young man returned from his sect. Looking at the derelict village before him, his eyes were filled with sadness. Little Guang, where have you gone to? I now possess a great amount of power that I can protect you with. But where have you gone to? Chapter 543, Time to start the plan. Chapter 543, Time to start the plan. The images appeared momentarily before disappearing, just like snowflakes. What a tragic story. This was the only thought in Lin Fan's mind. The Marquis of Despair had led an extremely sorrowful life. Lin Fan was feeling somewhat saddened by the whole tale. This was such a pure love that had met with such a tragic end. Even though it was between a child and an adult, love was something that knew no boundaries. Just as Lin Fan was letting out a look of melancholy, he was attracted to an interesting sight before him. In that pitch-black darkness, a figure laid prostrated. His bum was raised high into the air, swinging and twerking left and right. No, no, the voice was somewhat hoarse, as though he was experiencing some horrific event, leading to the utter breakdown of his mental state and losing control of his own sanity. At the start, Lin Fan did not know who it was. However, when he caught sight of the features of that person, he grinned. And in fact, this was a bright grin. Ji Yu Xiao. Lin Fan had not expected his luck to be this good. To think that he would bump into Ji Yu Xiao. At the moment, Ji Yu Xiao's face was extremely tormented. Evidently, he had already sunken deep within the Marquis of Despair's realm of despair. Hey there, little buddy. Lin Fan hollered out at Ji Yu Xiao. However, it was as if Ji Yu Xiao did not hear him at all, as he continued wailing out there. Those malevolent eyes of his were dim, without any sign of life, as his consciousness seemed to have been completely absorbed by the realm of despair. Lin Fan was contemplating earlier on about how to kill Ji Yu Xiao. However, by the looks of the situation right now, there was no need for that anymore. He could just simply kill this guy outright just like this. Coming beside Ji Yu Xiao, Lin Fan gave that raised bum of his a few kicks. However, there was no reaction at all. This caused Lin Fan to get exhilarated. How should I get the most out of this piece of trash? Also, I must make sure that I leave nothing out. Lin Fan rubbed his chin as he contemplated slowly. Suddenly, his eyes flashed with an idea. Thunder Trainer King, come on out. Master. The Thunder Trainer King appeared before Lin Fan instantly and greeted him politely. Turning around to face that Ji Yu Xiao there, those bright, innocent eyes of the Thunder Trainer King flashed brightly, filling up with a look of thirst. Train him up well. Lin Fan had already thought up of a perfect plan. In order to create the maximum impact before the beings of the thousands of races out there, Lin Fan had to put in a good load of effort. How could he let this ancient race being die so easily? Yes, the Thunder Trainer King replied eagerly. Turning around to look at Ji Yu Xiao once more, he smacked his lips with a chilling fervor. Lin Fan had the utmost confidence in handing Ji Yu Xiao over to the Thunder Trainer King. After all, with the Thunder Trainer King, everything was bound to be fine. With that cruel set of training devised by the Thunder Trainer King, every single living being in the world would have to bow down under the might of the Thunder Trainer King. Where has the Marquis of Despair gone to? Lin Fan looked around at his surroundings, trying to make out for any traces of the Marquis of Despair. If he wanted to get out of this realm of despair, he would definitely have to locate the Marquis of Despair. Just then, a series of sounds rang out from the distance. Without hesitation, Lin Fan leapt forth from his spot and headed off into the direction of those sounds. The source of those sounds was definitely the Marquis of Despair. If he were to follow along this direction, Lin Fan would definitely be able to track him down. At this moment, the Marquis of Despair was kneeling on the spot and clutching Long Zan tightly in his arms. That expression on the Marquis of Despair's face was heart-wrenching to watch. Long Zan, don't leave me. The Marquis of Despair murmured like a living dead zombie right now. His gaze was dim and empty, without that same iciness from before. Right now, he was more like a pitiable person who had just lost everything in his life. The moment Lin Fan appeared, the Marquis of Despair raised that depressed face of his and looked at Lin Fan. The moment Lin Fan's eyes crossed with the Marquis of Despair's, his heart jerked for a moment. However, he steadied himself forcefully. How could he falter at such a moment? Furthermore, Lin Fan knew that there was definitely no way he could take down the Marquis of Despair given his current strength. However, catching sight of those images from before did give him some ideas. No matter whether or not they would work, he had to give it a shot. You've met me before, Lin Fan said calmly. You're that human, the Marquis of Despair recalled before lowering his head to look at Long Zan again. November LBJNN. That's right, I am that human. Do you wish to never leave his side? I can help you with that. Lin Fan continued. That's impossible, impossible. I'm being controlled by the utmost being. No one can help me. No one at all. The Marquis of Despair shook his head blankly as his expression changed once more. It was as if his mind had just gone berserk yet again. That's right. How can anyone else appear here before me? You're all supposed to die. All of you shall die. That initially calm expression of the Marquis of Despair turned nasty once more as he bellowed at Lin Fan. The moment the Marquis of Despair started going mad once more, Lin Fan was startled. Sensing that things were about to head south, he hurriedly added on, if you don't give it a shot, how would you know it's useless? Unless you mean to tell me that you don't wish to be by Long Zan's side, and you're unwilling to give up everything you possess right now. Shut up. What does a mere human such as yourself understand? The Marquis of Despair shot a bloodied gaze at Lin Fan with his bloodshot eyes. It seemed that if Lin Fan said even one more sentence, he would slay Lin Fan without any hesitation at all. I understand. I understand everything. If you do not wish to lose Long Zan, you must have faith in me. Otherwise, if you delay it any further, even if you kill everyone right here, you would never see him ever again. Lin Fan replied. Right now, Lin Fan was recalling every single dog's tea scenario he had ever known from those television serials. Eventually, this was the plan he had thought up of. Any single antagonistic boss would never be a frenzied murdering demon if they had someone they cared about around them. This was especially the case if the person they cared for wanted to leave them. At those critical junctures, they would definitely accede to any request in order to retain those that they cared about for the rest of their lives. This was the bet that Lin Fan was hedging on right now. And by the looks of the Marquis of Despair's expression, the probability of this working out was really high as well. The Marquis of Despair looked at Lin Fan without saying anything. That was all he did, looking silently. Heaven and earth smelt, come on out. Instantly, this utmost treasure of the system, the heaven and earth smelt, appeared within the realm of despair. This is an utmost treasure and can smelt everything within this heaven and earth. If you enter this together with Long Zan, I can smelt both of you into weapon spirits. With that, the both of you shall share a single body and never be separated ever again for all eternity. Even that manipulating power of the utmost being of the ancient race wouldn't be able to interfere with this. Lin Fan explained. Right now, Flying Heavens was really strong. However, it still did not have a weapon grade nevertheless. If Lin Fan could smelt Long Zan and the Marquis of Despair into weapon spirits and infuse them within the Flying Heavens, he would definitely be able to unleash all the potential within Flying Heavens entirely. Never separated for all eternity. Released from all sufferings. Escaping the control of the utmost being forever and ever. Looking at the heaven and earth smelt, the Marquis of Despair murmured to himself once more. Ha ha. Suddenly, he burst up laughing. With his fragile little arms, he lifted Long Zan up entirely. Long Zan is dead. No matter how much I wish to join him, I don't even have the rights to commit suicide. No matter what you're up to, even if I die, I must be with Long Zan. What do I have to fear? So what if I have boundless power and an unlimited amount of territories? None of them can be compared to Long Zan at all. He came to look for me. Despite knowing that he did not abandon me back then, I've scolded him and humiliated him. All I wanted was for him to leave my side so that he would never be under the control of that horrific utmost being as well. But, he understood everything and chose to never ever leave me. Carrying Long Zan, the Marquis of Despair headed towards the heaven and earth smelt step by step. That pitch-black fur coat was draped and dragged along those burdened shoulders of his. At this moment, the Marquis of Despair stood at the entrance of the heaven and earth smelt. Turning around to look at Lin Fan once more, he leapt straight in without any bit of hesitation. Don't worry, anything that yours truly promised will never be reneged on. Lin Fan thought in his heart. He then tossed the Flying Heavens within the heaven and earth smelt as well. The highest Tao of crafting all weapons. A telepathic fusion of two connected hearts. Smelt. With that, the heaven and earth smelt rattled violently. Within the heaven and earth smelt, the Marquis of Despair placed Long Zan down on the ground, and then laid down beside him. Holding on to Long Zan's hand, he closed his eyes. That never-changing expression of 10,000 years finally moved. For the first time in 10,000 years, he let out a true smile, that was ever so dazzling and brilliant. Chapter 544, Exaggerated Acting Skills. Chapter 544, Exaggerated Acting Skills. The Tao of Crafting Weapons. If not for the existence of the system, it would be easier for one to ascend the heavens than to reach this state of weapon crafting. On the path of crafting weapons, no one could perform this state of creating a dual life-form weapon spirit. In fact, even if it were Lin Fan, it would have been extremely difficult for him to create something like this if he hadn't managed to find any good weapon spirits. But, Lady Luck must have been shining on him for him to come across this couple, Long Zan and the Marquis of Despair. Not only that, he had managed to successfully get the couple within the heaven and earth smelt willingly. This was all a great fortune on his part. But honestly, Long Zan's power was too weak, wasn't it? He was only a desolate celestial upper-level cultivation state. On the other hand, the Marquis of Despair was a big boss. To think that his cultivation state would skyrocket to become a divine celestial level 2 after breaking down. Seemed like shrinking down in size did increase the concentration level. Even a small being like that would have such capabilities. Fat people would have short penises while skinny people would last shorter. Everything in this world was made balanced. Ding! Congratulations on smelting. Suddenly, the lid of the heaven and earth smelt burst open as a streak of light shot out. Instantly, the Marquis of Despair's realm of despair began to crack and fall apart. Flying heavens. Lower graded Tao weapon. Dual lifeform weapon spirit. Possesses 3 buffs. Immense and mythical uses. Ha ha ha, it's finally done. Right now, Lin Fan was abnormally happy. To think that it would skip the state of spirit weapon and leap right into a Tao weapon state. This was awesome. Thank you. Above the flying heavens, 2 figures floated gently in the sky. These 2 were none other than the Marquis of Despair and Long Zan. A big hand was holding on to the small hand. The Marquis of Despair's face was beaming brightly from ear to ear. He was at the epitome of happiness right now. No problem, it's a small issue. Just make sure you guys help me kill my enemies well in the future. Lin Fan replied casually. Yes, honestly, Lin Fan felt some slight regret for not being able to kill the Marquis of Despair. Otherwise, with a cultivation state of Divine Celestial Level 2, Lin Fan would definitely receive a crazy burst of experience points. But oh well, one might as well forget it. Now that Flying Heavens possessed a dual lifeform weapon spirit, it was definitely bound to have limitless potential. He would just have to properly groom it from here on forth. One day, he would definitely use the Flying Heavens to place the ancient race beings in a realm of despair, and watch them crumble from within. The Thunder Trainer King returned with a look of pleasure, evidently pleased with this training partner. Bam! Like a shattered mirror, the realm of despair turned into many pieces of shards, as they crystallized and disappeared into the world. Just what in the world happened earlier on? Weren't we still stuck within the realm of despair? Where are we? Are we dead? At this moment, all the beings of the thousands of races and the members of the 6 major sects were in a daze. Within the realm of despair, they experienced an uncontrollable amount of despair and tormenting pain in their hearts. And just as they were feeling as though they were about to die, a beam of light pierced through the darkness and shone on them, leading them to the way out. You guys are not dead. With yours truly around, how would any weak and puny beings dare to go overboard? Lin Fan floated up gently into the sky once more. With an imposing disposition, he was extremely calm right now. Hands behind his back, he looked down at the beings of the thousands of races. The moment all these beings caught sight of this Mother *C King Human King, all of them prostrated in a frenzy. Ah, the Mother *C King Human King saved us. Long live the Mother *C King Human King. Even the invincible Marquis of Despair has been subjugated by the Mother *C King Human King. Mother *C King Human King, I love you. All of the beings of the thousands of races were clamoring out in excitement. In fact, some of the female beings even had golden stars shooting out of their eyes as they shivered uncontrollably. It seemed like they were at the peak of physical pleasure, screaming out at Lin Fan at the top of their lungs. For someone such as Lin Fan who had had much experience with brothels in the past, such sounds of praise and adoration came as no surprise to him. Back in the Xuanwang world, each time he committed a perfect act, he would always meet with the reverence of the masses. All those pretty young chicks couldn't even wait to tear off their clothes and crush yours truly under their loving lumps. However, upon ascending to the ancient saint world, Lin Fan felt that the burden on his shoulders had increased by quite a bit. Because of that, he would have to be more mature and steady. After that, he waved his hands slightly. That should suffice as a reciprocation for the mass adoration received. After all, it was a crime for one to be as loved as him. Mu Tianlong of the desolate ancient dragon sect was having really mixed feelings right now. He glared at Lin Fan with both envy and hatred. To him, he should have been the recipient of such adoration. But to think that it would all fall onto the shoulders of that human. Even that junior sister of his who once had respect him had left him right now for Ziyisheng, who was in no way stronger than him. Because of this, Mu Longtian nearly spat out a mouthful of blood. Looking at Lin Fan, who was floating in the air, all the elders of the 6 major sects could not help but admit it in their hearts. This was the pride of the human race. They acknowledged that they themselves weren't even comparable to this human being. In fact, there might be no one in their sects who could truly match with this human being here. Was the human race that had dimmed away from the limelight for the past tens of thousands of years going to shine with brilliance once more? Human. Suddenly, a roar burst forth from the void. The moment the beings of the thousands of races heard this voice, their hearts skipped a beat. At this, they could only think of a single ancient race being. That man who claimed that he was the son of the sovereign King Wei, Ji Yu Xiao. That powerful semi-divine celestial being whose powers knew no bounds. You're not dead yet, Lin Fan tossed his robes and looked at Ji Yu Xiao in the distance imposingly. Die, how could I die? Today, I, Ji Yu Xiao, shall have all of you lay here with your corpses. Ji Yu Xiao blared out in anger. However, there was a strange look in his eyes, as though he was being controlled by somebody or something. Herg hhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhh. This aura was so strong that even the heaven and earth rattled. The mountains shook, and the sky turned gray. Even the stars and sun were being shrouded by the ferocity of this force, dimming without any light at all. Under this formidable aura, all the beings of the thousands of races started to tremble. They were like little boats in the midst of a raging sea, where they could be overwhelmed by a gigantic wave at any moment. The elders of the 6 major sects stood where they were, glaring at Ji Yu Xiao. This aura was way too strong. It surpassed them entirely. In the eyes of a semi-divine celestial being, they were comparable to just mere ants. Lin Fan took in the expressions of everyone present deep into his heart before chuckling out. Tossing his hair back, he strode through the air and hollered out. HMPH, how dare you act so impertinently before the mother *C King Human King. Kneel down. This voice exploded out through the void. All those beings of the thousands of races who were in a state of fright felt their hearts tremble, as they burst out in cheers after hearing this voice. That was right, they still had the mother *C King Human King. He would definitely kill this ancient race being. Looking at Lin Fan, Mu Longtian gloated in his heart. Saying this was as good as saying nothing. Every single one of the ancient race beings was vicious and cruel. Even if they were to die, they would never ever bow down to someone from the thousands of races out there. However, the next scene had everyone's jaws agape. An impressive aura shot out from Lin Fan's body. This aura was tough, crazy tough. That originally menacing Ji Yu Xiao suddenly frowned and stumbled backward rapidly, crying out shrilly. How could this be? This aura, how can it be this strong? Thud, before the eyes of everyone present, Ji Yu Xiao knelt down. What have you done to me? Ji Yu Xiao screamed out in fright. How are you this strong that even I of the ancient race cannot match up against you at all? A mere semi-divine celestial and you dare to act so brazenly before me? Know your place. Lin Fan snorted coldly. With the flick of his robes, a razor-sharp sword will shot forth and sliced Ji Yu Xiao's body cleanly. Everyone was completely dumbfounded. At this moment, Lin Fan floated gently in the sky. That mighty and noble disposition of his was carved into the minds of everyone else once more. November LBJNN. Raising a single hand, he had killed that semi-divine celestial ancient race being. This sort of power. However, Lin Fan was somewhat displeased. Ji Yu Xiao's acting sucked, man. It was a little exaggerated. But overall, the performance still worked out pretty well. Chapter 545, Descent of the Sovereign King Wei. Chapter 545, Descent of the Sovereign King Wei. Killing Ji Yu Xiao brought Lin Fan a few 100,000 experience points. However, the unexpected reward was that he also got a middle-grade Dao weapon and 2 lower-grade ones. Heaven and Earth Demonic Ancient Umbrella. Green Solar Dragon Saber. Firestorm Shirt. Seemed like Ji Yu Xiao was a pretty rich boy indeed, unlike all the other common ancient race beings. However, recalling the fact that Ji Yu Xiao was the son of the sovereign King Wei, everything made sense. Even though Lin Fan did not know what sort of an existence this sovereign King Wei was, for him to be a direct lackey of the utmost being, he naturally couldn't be that weak. Lin Fan then tossed the 3 Dao weapons for his big ancient demon to devour. Lin Fan did not care about quantity when it came to treasures. Quality was what mattered. His treasure, Demon City, was something that possessed much greater potential compared to anything else. How could he not nurture it properly? If he could raise it up to its highest state, it would definitely bring about a power that could devastate the entire world. At this moment, the entire world fell silent. The beings of the thousands of races had long been mesmerized by the scene from earlier. What had they just witnessed? To think that the mighty and vile Ji Yu Xiao would kneel down under a single burst of aura. This was something that had never once happened before in the ancient saint world. Mother *C King Human King. Please accept me as your slave. I'm willing to follow you for life. I can't take it anymore. This is too intense. Way too crazily intense. The beings of the thousands of races lost their minds entirely at this moment. They did not even know how to express this intense feeling of exhilaration in their hearts. That image from earlier on was way too mind-blowing. An ancient race being bowing down to someone else, this was something that had never happened before. These former captive beings of the thousands of races, who were once overlords in their lower worlds below, were having mixed feelings right now. After all, this human was someone like them, who had once looked down on all masses and living beings in their lower worlds. But at this moment, they were the masses and living beings who were being looked down upon. Ever since they arrived at the ancient saint world, all of them had the same assumption, that since they were able to rule over their lower worlds in the past, they would definitely be able to do the same one day in the ancient saint world. However, reality was a cruel thing, which slapped hard onto their faces. In the ancient saint world, there were countless people who were just like them, reigning over their own lower worlds in the past. However, what happened to all of them? Most of them were either dead or suppressed. There were only a few who could return to that past state of glory. All in all, it was because of the heaven's will of the ancient saint world. If one were to explain all of this in terms of a game, their lower worlds would have been the normal mode, while the ancient saint world right now was hell mode. The difference in difficulty was as great as the heaven and earth. Lin Fan looked at the beings of the thousands of races and smiled calmly, waving his hand dismissively. He had long anticipated these enthusiastic cheers. As for these beings of the thousands of races, that single smile of Lin Fan was more than enough to captivate their hearts. To them, this peerless and majestic Mother *C King Human King was way too charismatic. Mother *C King Human King. Mother *C King Human King. Lin Fan did not expect that even that single action of his could have created this number of mindless fans. But, there was something he could hardly wait for. Right now, he was eager to find out his ranking on the fugitive list. Upon opening up the fugitive list, Lin Fan could not help but grin out. He was now number 10,000. Compared to his ranking in the tens of millions back then, the jump to 10,000 right now only took him a couple of months. Lin Fan had massacred 1,000,000 ancient race soldiers all on his own. In the ancient saint world, there had never been a precedence for something like this. However, because all of the slaughtered ancient race soldiers were weaklings, he was still at the rank 10,000 right now. But, with this ranking, Lin Fan understood that there were still at least 10,000 beings of the thousands of races who were actively resisting the ancient race. But, this was a number that was way too small nevertheless. Compared to the endless number of ancient race beings, 10,000 beings were nothing but a speck in the universe. But then again, there was a heaven-defying existence such as yours truly within those 10,000 beings. Even if it were down to him alone, he could definitely overthrow the entire ancient race one day. Just as Lin Fan had thought it through and was about to show off before the beings of the thousands of races yet again, a strange phenomenon occurred. Boom! The boundless void in the sky was suddenly torn apart. Within the gap, black clouds thundered as a formidable aura seeped out. WHO was the one. WHO killed my son. A booming voice exploded through the void. The moment Lin Fan heard this, his face changed immediately. Killed his son? Then, wasn't this the sovereign King Wei who had arrived? Holy FCK! What the FCK was up with the ancient race in this ancient saint world? Was every single damned one of them connected telepathically? To think that he could sense the death of his son almost immediately and appear here right afterward. How the FCK was Lin Fan supposed to sneak on any other people from now on? Wait, something was amiss. Lin Fan looked over at the gap in the void. That aura that was emitted wasn't something that could devastate the entire world. This was only his essence spirit that was descending. Mother *C King Human King, you've got to be cautious. This is only a trace of the sovereign King Wei's essence spirit that is heading over to our direction. Even though Elder Dulong's cultivation state wasn't that high, he had a wide knowledge about things. So, he reminded Lin Fan sternly. Elder Dulong, please take everyone with you and leave. Lin Fan replied. But, what about you? I'll stay here to fend him off. Don't waste time now, hurry up. Lin Fan frowned. This was going to be sticky. Before his essence spirit had even arrived, that aura emitted off was already that of a divine celestial cultivation state's aura. If they were to truly duke it out, yours truly might not be a match for that. If this image that he had painstakingly built up were to be crushed by the trace of the sovereign King Wei's essence spirit, he would really be suffering a major loss. Acknowledging the urgency of the matter, Elder Dulong did not hesitate any further. To him, things should be fine given the might of the Mother *C King Human King. With that, Elder Dulong nodded his head along with the other elders. Given the time they had spent here, they had roughly recovered from the damage from before. Mother *C King Human King, we'll meet again someday. Cupping their fists at Lin Fan and paying their final greetings of respect, Elder Dulong and the others employed a secret technique which caged the beings of the thousands of races together with them. Dragon Race Secret Technique, Dimensional Shift. At this moment, the elders of the desolate ancient dragon sect unleashed all of their powers. Their essence blood sprayed into the sky, converting into a form of power and sending them merging into the void. All of you shall stay here. Suddenly, it happened. From within those rumbling black clouds, a single gigantic arm stretched out. This arm was enormous beyond anything else, with pitch-black nails that were as big as mountains. With a gentle flick, one of the nails dropped off and turned into a shroud of black smoke. The black smoke infused itself into that crystallized secret technique of the dragon race, causing it to shatter into pieces almost immediately. As though they had just received a massive backlash, all the elders of the desolate ancient dragon sect spat out mouthfuls of fresh blood, as they were slammed sitting crippled on the ground with a look of fear. The moment Lin Fan caught sight of this, he was rendered speechless. So damn bloody close. What was he to do now? C. Weren't this guy's methods way too strong? He might not even be able to deal with it at all. Was he really going to have that image he had built up earlier on crumble into nothingness in an instant from being forced to run or something? All the elders of the desolate ancient dragon sect had not expected the sovereign King Wei's essence spirit to appear here. After all, the sovereign King Wei was one of the powerful beings right under the utmost being. Even this mother *C King human king might not be a match for him. The moment all the beings of the thousands of races felt this repressive aura, they began to feel fear as well. However, their gazes were filled with hope when they turned and cast them at this great mother *C King human king. Guys, look, the mother *C King human king is still extremely calm. That's right, the mother *C King human king is sure to protect us. Sovereign King Wei, we're not afraid of you. With the mother *C King human king around, how dare you act so brazenly? Suddenly, as though the former captive beings had just popped some ecstasy pills, they started hollering out in arrogance. Lin Fan, who was toying with the idea of running away, felt all the blood drain from his face when he heard these words. Holy FCK, this is some serious *T. They've truly misunderstood now. All they saw was yours truly's calm demeanor. However, yours truly was contemplating about his escape route in his mind. Mother *C King human king. HMPH, how dare you kill my son? No matter who it is, everyone shall die here today. That thunderously booming voice exploded out through the sky like crackling lightning once more. The moment Lin Fan turned his gaze towards the void, his face changed. He then heaved out a sigh of relief. Phew, that was quite the scare. Chapter 546, Noob Teammates. Chapter 546, Noob Teammates. Upon hearing the type of threats that the beings of the thousands of races were raining onto the sovereign King Wei, Lin Fan had to repress the urge to cleave down their heads with his eternal axe. Bloody hell, even if you guys aren't afraid of death, you can't drag yours truly down with you. Yours truly isn't tired of living just yet. But of course, this was the thought he had initially while he was stunned by the aura of the sovereign King Wei. However, upon closer inspection of the essence spirit, Lin Fan was elated. Divine Celestial Level 2 Cultivation Realm State. Seemed like this essence spirit that had descended was only equal to a Divine Celestial Cultivation Realm State being. If this were earlier on, perhaps this Cultivation Realm State alone would have had Lin Fan crying shishtilas. However, right now, Flying Heavens had a dual lifeform weapon spirit all on its own. Within it, just the Marquis of Despair alone was of the Divine Celestial Level 2 Cultivation Realm State. Therefore, Lin Fan came up with a new action plan. It was time to give it a shot. With a strong backing such as the mother *C King human king, Lin Fan, all of the former captive beings were filled with an immense courage right now. No matter how weak they were personally, they felt like a peerless overlord right now. Emboldened by Lin Fan's presence, they pointed their fingers in the sky and cussed out with all sorts of nonsense. Furthermore, all of their curses were extremely imposing and cocky. Sovereign King Wei, your death is near. The mother *C King human king is going to take you down with just the back of his palms. Do you believe it? We believe in it at least. Our mother *C King human king's going to snuff you out. The elders of the 6 major sects felt a sinking feeling of despair in their hearts. They were not as ignorant of the world as these former captives. Even though they did not know of the exact strength of the mother *C King human king, they knew that he shouldn't have hit the Divine Celestial Level 2 Cultivation Realm State. Within the ancient saint world, even the difference of a single cultivation state was a world of difference. Elder Dulong and the other elders garnered that for the Mother *C King Human King to be able to kill Ji Yu Xiao, his cultivation state should be at the true divine celestial level 1 true state. While the former captive beings of the thousands of races were extremely relaxed right now, Elder Dulong and the others had a really grim look on their faces. Seemed like their deaths were truly set for this day. With that, Elder Dulong and the others shook their heads and sighed out in helplessness. However, at that moment, something unbelievable happened. Sovereign King Wei, that trash of a son of yours was killed by yours truly. What are you upset about? Looking up at the void, Lin Fan hollered out majestically. The essence spirit was changing forms rapidly. At this moment, it took on the form of a gigantic arm. From the palm of that arm, a pair of eyes and a mouth suddenly appeared. Those eyes shone with a dark, sinister gleam. To think that a mere human such as yourself would dare to act so brazenly before your majesty. Even your ancestors would not dare to speak to me in such a manner. He blared out. Lin Fan was never one who was afraid of a battle of words. Since the sovereign King Wei wanted to start the verbal battle, how could Lin Fan lose out? HMPH, how dare a mere essence spirit come before me so impertinently? In front of yours truly, your essence spirit is nothing but a mere ant. If your true body were to appear here right now, perhaps only then would yours truly be forced to let out a trick or two. Lin Fan tossed his robes and replied with a domineering aura, causing everyone present to freeze up. By now, all the elders of the 6 major sects were completely stumped. Did they have the wrong idea about this human? Was it because this Mother *C King Human King's cultivation state was so high compared to theirs that they could not make out his true strength at all? There had never been anyone who had dared to speak such brazen words before the sovereign King Wei in the ancient saint world. Only if his true body were to appear would this human be forced to let out a trick or two. Didn't that mean that his true prowess was beyond the heavens? Did you catch that, sovereign King Wei? The noble Mother *C King Human King's going to slaughter you today. Long live our Mother *C King Human King. Take down the sovereign King Wei and revive the glory of the thousands of races. By now, all the beings of the thousands of races were raving out in crazy excitement. Having gone through immense tortures and sufferings, the Mother *C King Human King was their one true hope, their heaven and earth. Looking at these beings of the thousands of races, a thought bubbled up in Lin Fan's mind uncontrollably. Are these guys really going to believe every single *T that yours truly says? Just who are you? The eyes of the sovereign King Wei shone with a weird light as he asked sternly, as though he was taken aback by these words. Because the sovereign King Wei could not sense the aura of this human before him, he could not tell the cultivation state of the other party. Initially, the sovereign King Wei had thought that he would be able to slap someone like this to death with a single slam of his hand. But, the unfazed look of this man before him, along with the fact that he didn't seem to be giving him any bit of respect, was throwing the sovereign King Wei a little off. He was slightly wary right now, as though this other party could truly be some really powerful being. However, he knew all the powerful beings within the human race right now. Just who in the world could this human be then? HMPH, yours truly is the Mother *C King Human King. Never forget that. Yours truly isn't someone you can afford to mess with. Lin Fan's aura was formidable without any signs of letting down at all. Mother *C King Human King. Sovereign King Wei was bewildered. He had never heard of anyone with this name. The former captives grew excited once more. Dulong and the others were flabbergasted as well. To think that the Mother *C King Human King could cause the unparalleled sovereign King Wei some astonishment. If they had not witnessed this right for themselves, they would never have dared to believe that any being from the other races could manage to scare the sovereign King Wei. Just who in the world are you exactly? Sovereign King Wei asked once more. However, his tone was no longer as imposing as before. HMPH, yours truly never repeats himself thrice. If you do not wish to lose your essence spirit right here, you had better scram now. Lin Fan raised his chin and called out haughtily. The moment they saw the gracefulness of their Mother *C King Human King, all the beings of the thousands of races felt their hearts thumping with adrenaline. This was the first time in history that the thousands of races had been so imposing. Listen right up, Sovereign King Wei. This person here is the noble Mother *C King Human King. The great Lin Fan of the human race, who shines down upon all of us with his dazzling brilliance. If you do not wish to lose your trace of essence spirit here, you had better get the FCK out right now. In the time to come, our Mother *C King Human King would definitely come knocking on your doorsteps and take you down personally. Seizing the opportunity, Mu Longtian lashed out. Since he couldn't compare with the mother *C King human king, he must make sure that this human has a lasting impression of him. Who knew if he might be able to catch the eye of the mother *C King human king and gain a straight path up to the heavens. November LBJNN. Lin Fan was exhilarated right now. Not only was his plan working out well, the effects were pretty explosive indeed. But right at the moment Lin Fan heard what Mu Longtian claimed, he was stunned, as he turned his head slowly around to look at Mu Longtian in utter shock. Looking at how the mother *C King human king had turned around to look at him, Mu Longtian straightened his back and revealed a beaming smile. Smile. Your mother. The moment Lin Fan caught sight of that smile, he cursed in his heart. Lin Fan, Sovereign King Wei murmured before going silent. But, Lin Fan knew that the Sovereign King Wei must be checking up on him right now. Indeed, in the blink of an eye, a thunderous holler boomed out from the heavens. ****, how dare you try to trick your majesty here? Prepare to die. Sovereign King Wei was totally angered by now. Upon receiving the name, he checked up the fugitive list immediately. The moment he saw that this so-called mother *C King human king, Lin Fan, was only at the desolate celestial upper level, he was thoroughly incensed. He was the great sovereign that served directly under the utmost being. Since when had he ever been rattled by anyone else? However, to think that a mere desolate celestial ant would dare to use some secret treasure to hide away his true cultivation state and put on an act before him. If anyone else were to find out about this, where would the dignity of his great name go to? Sovereign King Wei's hand bolted out towards Lin Fan. Lin Fan sighed helplessly and cussed under his breath. This is what happens when you've got noob teammates. These guys just FCKED up a possibly perfect act. However, even if things had come to this, Lin Fan wasn't afraid. After all, there was always a plan B. He would just have to kill ahead then. Chapter 547, Slaying the Sovereign King Wei. Chapter 547, Slaying the Sovereign King Wei. Even though this was only a single trace of essence spirit from the Sovereign King Wei, and the cultivation state was that of the Divine Celestial Level 2 realm, there was a distinct difference between the powers of those in the same realm. Sovereign King Wei was someone who was under the direct orders of the utmost being. Therefore, there was no doubt about his power level. He must definitely be one of the top beings of the Divine Celestial Level 2 realm. You bloody ****. How I wish I could kill you right now. Lin Fan looked over at Mu Longtian, and was exceptionally exasperated in his heart. How the hell did someone like this manage to stay alive up till now? Was his head FC King filled with mush? Back when Lin Fan had just realized that this was a single trace of essence spirit, he heaved a sigh of relief within his heart. After all, if they were to base it on just the cultivation realm, he should be pretty much safe. However, if he wanted to kill him, he would still require some tricks in order to do so. But, if he had managed to scare off the Sovereign King Wei into retreating instead, then the name of yours truly would certainly spread far and wide amongst all the beings of the thousands of races. But right now, everything was messed up because of one Mu Longtian. This was such an infuriating turn of events. And like human, today, I, Sovereign King Wei, shall have you lay down your body right here. The Sovereign King Wei's aura was sturdy. Swiping out with that arm, even the void could not withstand the surge of power that was rippling through it, as it began to crumble apart. Those mountain-like fingers of his delved right into the void, digging a deep trench within the void itself. HMPH. Do you think that I'll be afraid of you? Lin Fan focused his gaze as his battle intent almost turned into a physical being, countering the massive aura of the Sovereign King Wei. Demon City. Flying Heavens. The two Dao weapons swiveled out and occupied the heaven and earth. The big ancient demon held out menacingly, bursting forth with an intense demonic aura. Big ancient demon. Evidently, the big ancient demon was someone that was extremely well known amongst the ancient race. As such, the Sovereign King Wei was no stranger to him either. Human, could this be the reason why you would dare to act so insolently before your majesty here? All because you inherited the legacy of the big ancient demon. But, what a pity. You don't have what it takes just yet. That Dao weapon of yours. Your majesty here shall take it for himself. The Sovereign King Wei blared out as his titanic arm grabbed out at the big ancient demon. The big ancient demon was angered right now, as though he had some sort of blood feud with the ancient race beings. Suddenly, his body expanded rapidly, turning into a colossal demon. With a single punch, he smashed at the galactical rivers. The big ancient demon has yet to reach its true peak form. Compared to the essence spirit of the Sovereign King Wei, the difference is really far too much. Lin Fan frowned. Shengyang pills burn. Instantly, Lin Fan incinerated 3 million Shengyang pills. Shenyang pills made use of the solar yang energy, and its strongest form was when it was in flames. This could allow the Tao weapon to exert a greater amount of strength. The moment the big ancient demon sniffed out this thick amount of energy, he bellowed out furiously as his power level began spiking up. Master, give me 2 million more. I want to unleash my world-devastating magic. The powers of the big ancient demon had reached a bottleneck right now. It just wasn't enough. Ever since the big ancient demon had obtained a consciousness of his own, he could begin to communicate with Lin Fan once more. Even though he had forgotten about everything from the past, his original fighting skills remained the same. 2 million more. Lin Fan's heart skipped a beat. This big ancient demon was way too extravagant with pills, wasn't he? In the blink of an eye, 5 million Shenyang pills were gone just like that. However, now was not the time to be bothered about that. Since Lin Fan had already decided to go all out, even if he were to use up all the Shenyang pills, he would just have to snatch over more of them from others. N-O-V-E in .c ohm. Alright, make sure you FCK this guy up real good. Lin Fan cried out as he slapped his storage. Immediately, countless Shenyang pills exploded into a river and flowed towards the direction of the big ancient demon. Sensing the steady rise in the big ancient demon's powers, the tone of the sovereign King Wei changed as well. Big ancient demon, to think that as an utmost being of the ancient beasts, you would allow yourself to become a weapon spirit. Where has your dignity gone to? Sovereign King Wei scoffed out. HMPH, how could a mere ancient being such as yourself understand the dazzling brilliance of my master? The big ancient demon stepped right into the demon city. That deep gaze of his suddenly shone with a golden glow, as though he had attained the highest form of his existence. Demonic punch of truth. The big ancient demon held out as his body expanded by a few more times instantly. With that single punch, a shockwave was sent rippling out through the air. It was as though the entire heavens were bound to collapse under the might of this single punch. This punch seemed to possess the life of every single weird and strange ancient beast within the ancient saint world, as though it held the highest order of truth amongst the ancient beasts. Arg! Unable to block this punch, Sovereign King Wei was sent retreating backward for a huge distance. Damn it! With a maddened holler, his gigantic arm flung out as those fingernails of his, which were the size of mountains, fell off. As if they were released from a slingshot, all of them flung themselves at the gigantic fist of the big ancient demon, turning into a black mist upon clashing. Heavenly covering demonic hand. No matter what, Sovereign King Wei was a powerful being of the divine celestial cultivation state. Even though this was only a trace of his essence spirit, he was still howling out in anger against this strike of the big ancient demon. Instantly, the sky changed colors as black clouds began to rumble. In the form of a mess of meat and blood, it covered the entire sky. Big ancient demon, hold him back. Lin Fan felt his spirit jerk for a moment as he ordered the big ancient demon to hold back the fort for now. At the same time, he comprehended the true power of the sovereign King Wei. Seemed like he had been too careless earlier on, thinking that he had a shot at this just because the opponent was only at a divine celestial level 2 cultivation realm. But right now, he truly realized that he had really overthought things. The power that just this single trace of essence spirit possessed was far beyond that of anyone else in this cultivation realm. Human, you've been too arrogant. So what if you've got those millions of Shenyang pills burning up? In the face of the sovereign King Wei, you're still nothing but an ant. Sovereign King Wei bellowed as this heaven-encompassing power slammed into the big ancient demon. Lin Fan did not let this get to him. Flying Heavens was still hidden in the voids right now, revolving furiously. The Marquis of Despair and Long Zan stood upright with their hands held together, their powers rising rapidly as well. Lin Fan knew that while the Marquis of Despair was also a divine celestial level 2 cultivation realm being, the difference between him and the sovereign King Wei was still pretty significant. However, right now, Lin Fan could not afford to hesitate any longer. Slay. With that, the flying heavens which was hidden in the void swiveled and bolted out. This massive surge of energy tore through anything in its way. The Marquis of Despair churned out his true skill seed, unleashing the realm of despair and bringing flying heavens to its peak status. What's this? Sovereign King Wei couldn't help but be startled suddenly. However, it was all too late. The speed of flying heavens right now had surpassed anything in this world, as it glided through the void and tunneled into the gigantic black arm. The power of despair, Marquis of Despair. Sovereign King Wei wanted to drive this unknown object out of his arm. However, he realized to his dismay that the moment his own energy was sent towards it, it was blocked and swallowed by the power of despair. Sovereign King Wei, yours truly has said so from the very beginning. Since you don't wish to scram, then you shall stay here for yours truly. Lin Fan burst out laughing. Seizing the opportunity, the big ancient demon hollered out madly before grabbing at the essence spirit of the Sovereign King Wei with his right arm and tugging massively. With that, he tore out the right arm that was formed from the trace of the Sovereign King Wei's essence spirit from the void. Burst. The rotation speed of the flying heavens was immense, as it caused the void around it to vibrate immensely. In the blink of an eye, the Sovereign King Wei's arm exploded, and his blood sprayed across the sky. Damned human, you had better wait for me. With that incensed howl, the trace of essence spirit burst forth from the arm and tried to escape into the void. HMPH, how could you think of leaving after you've arrived here? Do you really think you can leave without leaving anything behind? Looking at the escape attempt of the Sovereign King Wei, Lin Fan jeered out coldly. Opening his massive mouth, the big ancient demon sucked with all his might. The Marquis of Despair and Long Zhan looked at one another as they both unleashed their greatest powers as well. Slapping out towards the essence spirit of the Sovereign King Wei, the boundless amount of power of despair blocked out the entire heaven and earth, as it suppressed the essence spirit of the Sovereign King Wei without any mercy at all. Human, you're courting death. Sovereign King Wei was in a frenzy right now. To think that this human would dare to think of devouring his trace of essence spirit. HMPH, it's not the first time yours truly is saying this. Unless you come here physically, you're nothing but an ant to yours truly. Sweeping his robes, Lin Fan grabbed at the essence spirit of the Sovereign King Wei and swallowed it down his tummy. Chapter 548, Why did he take things so seriously? Chapter 548, Why did he take things so seriously? Haha, the moment Lin Fan swallowed the essence spirit of the Sovereign King Wei into his tummy, Sovereign King Wei somehow started bursting out in laughter. Foolish ant, how dare you swallow your majesty into your tummy? All right then, your majesty shall devour your entire consciousness and take over your body then. Everything you have shall belong to your majesty. Your wealth, fortune, body, cultivation state, and women. Hee hee, that's right, especially your women. Oh, your majesty will take extra care to train them up well. Sovereign King Wei sniggered sinisterly as though he had not expected this human to swallow him in. Dumb FCK, Lin Fan did not have anything much to say anymore. All he felt was that this Sovereign King Wei was way too dumb. To think that this human would dare to remain so brazen even in the face of death. Sovereign King Wei was so angered that even his essence spirit was rattling right now. All right then, I shall let you know of your majesty's true powers. Devour, devour, the essence spirit of the Sovereign King Wei bellowed out consistently. He had it up till here. He was bent on devouring this darned human soul altogether. 1, 2, 3, time's up. Lin Fan was counting down silently. How could all these living beings in the world dare to consume just about anything they saw before them, without even having what it took? Arg, what's this? Impossible. No, indeed, as Lin Fan had expected, the tragic wails of the Sovereign King Wei rose up at that instant. Oh, you're truly a dumb FCK. Lin Fan sighed. Yours truly had the system with him. What in the world was the system? It was a bloody invincible existence. Just this mere Sovereign King Wei wished to devour Lin Fan. What a fool's dream that was. Ding. Congratulations on killing a trace of Sovereign King Wei's essence spirit. Ding. Experience points plus 200,000 feet. Ding. Congratulations on leveling up. Cultivation state. Desolate celestial full cultivation state. Wow, this was the best. Right now, Lin Fan was practically floating on the heavens itself. To think that a single trace of essence spirit from Sovereign King Wei could produce these many experience points. This was fabulous. If he could kill the Sovereign King Wei for real, wouldn't the amount of experience points truly skyrocket by then? But, the only feeling of pain that Lin Fan had right now was that all those Shengyang pills that he had painstakingly saved up were all exhausted in an instant. He could have been considered a pretty wealthy man earlier on. However, he became a pauper in the blink of an eye. And, the one responsible for all of this, Mu Longtian. The moment Mu Longtian realized that the Mother Fasterisk Sea King Human King was looking over at him, his heart skipped a beat on sensing that something was amiss. However, that was not right either. He didn't have any sort of bad blood with the Mother Fasterisk Sea King Human King. So, why would the Mother Fasterisk Sea King Human King bear any grudges or anything against him? Long live the Mother Fasterisk Sea King Human King. With that, Mu Longtian was the first one to cheer out. Those former captive beings of the thousands of races, who were doused in shock right now, snapped back into their senses and hurried. The mother ** Sea King Human King is ferocious without a worthy opponent. The mother * Sea King Human King is the greatest. ... For the beings of the thousands of races, they were truly blinded this time around by the awesomeness. That was way too exhilarating, way too imposing. To think that the sovereign King Wei, such a powerful being of the ancient race, would find himself being slain by the mother * Sea King Human King. Who else could be a match for the mother * Sea King Human King? By now, all the beings of the thousands of races had been converted into brain-damaged fans of the mother * Sea King Human King, as they cheered with their lives. As for Dulong and the others, they remained in a state of shock. Mother * Sea King Human King. Dulong looked up at Lin Fan, who was floating gently in the sky. Suddenly, his face changed ever so slightly. Before anyone knew it, he was cheering out like the beings of the thousands of races, "Long live!" Whoever said that anyone mature would never turn into a brain-damaged fan of an idol would only say that because they had yet to meet with someone so captivating. In the ancient saint world, strength reigned supreme over everything else. And, the kind of prowess that was displayed by Lin Fan had long convinced all of them entirely. Furthermore, it wasn't just his power that had them convinced. It was his courage as well. Looking at everything calmly, Lin Fan eventually submerged into the pleasure of all the adoration and cheers. November LBJNN. In a secret chamber of the royal city somewhere far away. Sovereign King Wei's eyes jerked open suddenly. That initially malevolent expression of his turned ever more sinister. Damn B****, how dare he kill off my essence spirit? This time around, the sovereign King Wei was truly angered. He was at the bottleneck of breaking through to the next cultivation state. Right at the critical juncture, he felt his bloodline tingle. After that, he realized that his child had been killed by someone else. Blood was thicker than water after all. Therefore, he was naturally enraged. Separating a single trace of essence spirit from himself, he then gave chase to that location. But to think that the darned human would dare to kill off his essence spirit. Damn it, god damn it. In the beginning, Sovereign King Wei was genuinely startled by Lin Fan for a moment. After all, he did not know whether the other party might be some powerful being. If he were and they had exchanged blows, the other party could have used his essence spirit as a basis and tracked down his true body. If that were the case, his plan of breaking through to the next state of cultivation state would definitely be destroyed. However, upon realizing that this human was just playing tricks on him, he was entirely incensed. Without a single bit of hesitation, he then fought the human straight on, determined to crush him mercilessly. To think that this human would have these many tricks up his sleeves. Because of that, he took a huge loss of having his essence spirit go down. The moment he recalled that cocky expression on the face of that human, Sovereign King Wei burned with rage. Damn it, damn it. Your Majesty has trodden over the 8 districts for tens of thousands of years. Since when have I been subjected to such humiliation? Alright, since that's the case, then yours truly shall give up on breaking through to the next cultivation state for now and kill you, FCKER. Only then can I truly ease this feeling of hatred in my heart. Sovereign King Wei seethed with frustration. Break. With that single holler, all the energy around his body began to gather immediately, congealing altogether. A single golden pill that was formed in the void burst open immediately, converting into a huge amount of energy and flowing back into his body. Instantly, the gaze of the Sovereign King Wei's eyes shone brightly. This essence light pierced through the heaven and earth, looking down on everything in this world. Human, as you have wished for it, your Majesty shall head down there personally. It's time for you to shiver under the might of your Majesty. Sovereign King Wei's eyes were filled with loathing. Slicing through the void with his hands, he dived right in and headed straight for the Despair City. At this moment, Lin Fan's demeanor was maxed out as he engaged in casual conversation with the elders of the 6 major sects. Looking at their looks of reverence towards him, he did feel a bit of glee in his heart. The adoring gazes of the masses and the respect of them all. What an amazing feeling this was. Back in the Xuanwang world, yours truly had always been such a high-profile figure. Upon entering the ancient saint world, this should be the way things should continue being. Seemed like if one had the capabilities, no matter where one went, they would be met with the same treatment. Initially, the elders of the 6 major sects had extended their invitations for Lin Fan to be a guest at their sects. After all, Lin Fan was such a powerful being in their eyes. It'd be good if they could string some ties with him so that they could seek his help lest they meet with any trouble in the ancient saint world in the future. However, to Lin Fan, time was of the essence. He did not have the spare time to indulge in enjoyments as such. It'd be good if he could use the time to kill some more ancient race beings. Because of that, he rejected them politely. Naturally, the elders of the 6 major sects were somewhat dejected. However, the thought that there was a mother *C king human king within the beings of the thousands of races who would stand up against the ancient race instilled greater confidence in them for their future. Because of that, they still cheered up nevertheless. Looking at the elders of the 6 major sects deploying their own secret techniques to send their disciples back to their sects, Lin Fan prepared to leave this place as he headed forth as well. Now that he had overthrown the entire Despair City, there was still a sovereign king Wei awaiting him. He would continue pushing forth one step at a time, till he had killed the utmost being of this district himself. That was the time when he would truly have what it took to challenge the ancient race outright. Humming his favorite tune, Lin Fan skipped happily, ready to leave this place. Suddenly, the void exploded open. "Human, your majesty's true self is here." EHHHHHH. Lin Fan stopped in his tracks. That happy smile on his face was wiped off entirely and replaced with a dumbstruck look. Why the hell would there be an ancient race being in this world who took things so seriously? Beads of perspiration began to drip down Lin Fan's forehead. "Elders, I want to head to your sects as a guest." Right now, Lin Fan seriously regretted his actions. Why did he not agree to their invitations earlier on? If he had, he would have left this place successfully. However, it was all too late right now. After all, Sovereign King Wei was here personally. Chapter 549, Not Running Can't Run Anymore. Chapter 549, Not Running. Can't Run Anymore. This boundless aura affected the entire sky as the black clouds lined the place while rumbling ominously. That initially sunny scene had dimmed down entirely at this moment, as though doomsday was arriving. Pitch-black thunderbolts tore through the entire void as these bolts of devastating energies filled up the whole atmosphere. Such immense power. Upon sensing the impending power that was arriving, Lin Fan was stupefied. To think that the Sovereign King Wei would be such a petty person. Yours truly had only killed a single trace of essence spirit of his, and that was enough to have him sending himself down personally. Did he really have to go to that extent? And, the thing that left Lin Fan the most speechless was that every single novel that he had ever read was a bag of lies. Based on the plotlines of all those novels, after he had disposed of that trace of essence spirit, the Sovereign King Wei would definitely just hate him. At the very most, he would cuss out in fury and swear that he would get rid of this human one fine day. But, why the hell did he send himself right over in a huff without a single bit of hesitation, just because a single trace of essence spirit of his was destroyed? Based on this fact alone, every single thing out there was pure lies. Run, November LBJNN. Instantly, this was the only thought that appeared in Lin Fan's mind. As far as he could, he would run without stopping for even a single moment. Otherwise, he would definitely die without even knowing how. So far, yet so near. Earth Spirit River. Using the force he had once used to suck on titties as a baby, Lin Fan sprinted off into the distance. So far, yet so near, was a godly technique. With the boost of the Earth Spirit River, his speed was faster than anything else. In the blink of an eye, Lin Fan disappeared from his original spot. Boom! A sudden explosion boomed out as the entire firmament was torn open by an enormous pair of hands. A line ripped through the heaven and earth. Within this gap that was torn apart, the stars and the moons flew by. This was an entrance more domineering than anything anyone had ever seen. Suddenly, a gigantic and horrifying head stretched out from the gap. The features of this head were impossible to describe with any other word than horrific. That sinister gaze swept through the entire world. As he opened his monstrous mouth, it was as though that single opening could devour the entire ancient saint world. And like human, if you think that you can escape from the reaches of your majesty, you must be dreaming really hard. The sinister voice of the Sovereign King Wei permeated through the sky. Explode, explode. Lin Fan churned his mythical parasol tree and ran with all his might. That horrifying aura was coming right up to his ears. He shouldn't be able to catch up, I hope. Lin Fan did not know where in the world he had arrived or whether the Sovereign King Wei had managed to catch up with him. However, the moment he turned his head and looked up at the void, he nearly felt his soul shocked out of his body. This gigantic head that was stuck in the middle of that tear in the voids had been following him above in the sky. Holy FCK, this guy's not leaving me with any way out. Lin Fan exclaimed out in shock and instantly felt exasperated. The moment he caught sight of the Sovereign King Wei's true powers, he almost exploded out in fright. Divine Celestial Level 7, all to one state. All in all, there were 10 cultivation states in the divine celestial realm. Level 1, True State. Level 2, Realm State. Level 3, Paradise State. Level 4, Undying State. Level 5, Essence Spirit State. Level 6, Law State. Level 7, All-to-One State. Level 8, Universal Elixir State. Level 9, 8 Desolates United State. Level 10, Eternal God State. Lin Fan had some knowledge about these cultivation states. However, they were still quite foreign to him. After all, he was still just a desolate celestial full cultivation being right now. And other than that, the only powerful beings of the human race he had met were the Heavenly Emperor Yuan and the others. However, Lin Fan did not know what their cultivation states were. Though, he garnered that they should be stronger than this sovereign King Wei. But all in all, these were all just guesses on Lin Fan's part. Right now, the sovereign King Wei was at level 7, the all-to-one state. When one attained this state, they would fuse together all their beings into one. Their cultivation state, spirit, and soul, everything would be fused together, without any distinction. The same went for the true skill seeds. Every single true skill seed would be combined into a culmination of everything. With that, a single raise of his hand would possess an incredible amount of power. HMPH, want to run? Following Lin Fan closely, the sovereign King Wei hollered out. Just this single holler was enough to cause a reaction between the heaven and earth. A beam of light that was as sharp as a blade, pierced through everything as it bolted straight at Lin Fan. Holy FCK, what the FCK is that? Lin Fan was so scared right now that he had goosebumps all over his body. Without hesitating at all, he started running in a zigzag manner. PSHEW. PSHEW. The light pierced the ground and penetrated through it instantly. Slice. That stings. Lin Fan bit down on his lips as he broke out in cold sweat. Ding. Eternal immortality experience points plus 100,000. Ding. Physical body state leveled up. Ding. Physical body state. Desolate celestial lower level. Even with that azure celestial full cultivation physical body state, Lin Fan's body was still sliced cleanly like a piece of paper against these razor-sharp beams of light. If not for the fact that he was running in a flirtatious style, he would have long been turned into a beehive. Also, there was no way he was going to pay attention to the amount of experience points that were being received by the system right now. The only way he would use this to level would be if he really had a death wish. Any ants who dare to rile your majesty would only have a single path awaiting them, death. The arm of the sovereign King Wei ripped through that tear in the void and stretched out. With a single grab, all the ground in a radius of 100 miles vibrated immensely. A devastating amount of power turned into a current that surged right into the ground. This current was berserk, as it pushed in from all directions. Bam! Looking at the incoming force, Lin Fan leapt right up from the ground without any thoughts at all. Holy F***CK. How does one even fight against this SH**T? Lin Fan was at a thorough loss right now. He had thought that he might be able to get out with that flirtatious way of running. However, coming to think of it, he might only have been trying to deceive himself. The difference in power had completely disregarded everything else. No matter how flirtatious his way of running was, or how mythical the Earth Spirit River was, none of it mattered. Could it be that yours truly was going to fall right here not long after he had termed himself the mother *C King Human King? How tragic would that be? How sorrowful would that be? Ant, what's wrong? Why aren't you running anymore? Looking at this ant that was struggling to get out of his grasp, Sovereign King Wei sneered coldly. No more running. I can't run anymore. Lin Fan admitted his loss. Right now, if he were to go head-on, he would only die even faster. He might as well act weak and feeble to gain some time for himself instead. Who knew if he might be able to think up of some brilliant plan in that time? In fact, Lin Fan had even considered the fact that if the other party were of a low intellect, his act of cowardice might even cause the other party to show signs of weaknesses as well. If he could seize those chances, he might be able to even slam his brick right at the other party's head. With that thought, Lin Fan's heart was reignited with an immense hope. Ho ho, Mother *C King Human King, your majesty here has already descended personally. Right now, your majesty is really curious to know how you're going to let me have a hard time against you, you know. Your majesty is dying to find out. Gradually, the sovereign King Wei shrunk down in size as he descended from that tear in the void. That imposing figure of his stood between the heaven and earth as he looked at Lin Fan with absolute mockery. Those mocking eyes seemed as though they were looking at a mere ant. Lin Fan looked at the sovereign King Wei awkwardly. At the same time, he was speechless in his heart. To think that this guy would bear a grudge over those words of his. However, in the blink of an eye, Lin Fan's brows twitched. He did have an idea. While he wasn't certain of its success, he had to give it a shot no matter what. With that, Lin Fan's face suddenly changed as he grinned slyly. How could that be? Sovereign King Wei, your powers surpass the world itself, and you possess a disposition of pure superiority. Given an additional 100 years, even the seat as one of the utmost beings of the ancient race would belong to you, that's for sure. I'm just a mere puny human being. How would I dare to act insolently before you? Right now, Lin Fan's tempo had changed entirely. If the beings of the thousands of races were to see their revered mother *C King Human King bow down in weakness in front of the sovereign King Wei, they would definitely be heartbroken. But right now, there was only Lin Fan and the sovereign King Wei present. If he were to continue acting with his bullshit, the sovereign King Wei would definitely be the one schooling him properly. By then, there would indeed be no hope left. Chapter 550, Power of the Heaven and Earth Sutra. Chapter 550, Power of the Heaven and Earth Sutra. Haha, suddenly, the sovereign King Wei burst out laughing. Within those terrifying eyes of his, a smoldering look of disdain appeared, as though he was looking at an ant seeking mercy from him. On the other side, Lin Fan was already cussing by now within his heart. Laugh, laugh, laugh. Laugh your mother. But it didn't matter. He would let the sovereign King Wei have the first laugh. Once he fell for yours truly's trap, they would then see who would have the final laugh. Aunt, it's too late for you to be afraid now. Let your majesty here send you on your way. With a cold snort, the sovereign King Wei raised his hands as the storms and clouds changed colors. Lin Fan felt his entire body freezing up, without being able to move at all, as he was sealed up by the sovereign King Wei. FCK, I've got to turn stronger. If I don't die this time around, yours truly swears that I will definitely turn into a peerless powerful being. This feeling is way too repressive. Lin Fan swore in his heart. The feeling of having his life and death being placed in the palms of someone else was way too shishty a feeling. Lin Fan had always understood this. There's a risk to acting with bullshit. One has to always be grounded in life. However, these were words that Lin Fan had always preached to others. He had never expected to be on the receiving end of his own words one day. Back in the Xuanwang world, crossing beyond levels to slay his enemies was something that came almost naturally to him. However, upon his ascension to the ancient saint world, Lin Fan realized that each time he had to fight with anyone at a higher level than him, it was as though he had to go at it with his entire life. And, the worst type of situations were things like these, where he couldn't kill the opponent even if he went at it with all he had. This wheeling sucks. He wanted to cry right now. But, Lin Fan understood that at this moment, there was no one else he could other than depending on himself. No one else could render him any assistance at all. He could only rely on the superior intellect and thick skin that he possessed. History belonged to the victors. The ends justified the means. The last man standing shall be the victor. Which meant, it was impertinent that one had to survive in order to reign. Oh, invincible sovereign King Wei. Could you hold up just for a moment? There's something I'm not sure whether or not I should say. Lin Fan exclaimed out hurriedly. Sovereign King Wei looked down at Lin Fan in disdain. Speak up, aunt. Once you're done, I shall send you on your way. There's hope. Looking at how the sovereign King Wei had not struck down yet, Lin Fan's heart skipped with joy momentarily. Any chance of coming back from a bad situation always relied on the ego of the opponent. So what if he were the great sovereign King Wei who had reigned through the ancient times in battle? Naturally, someone like him would not be too wary of someone like Lin Fan, who was only at the desolate celestial full cultivation state. Oh mighty sovereign King Wei, what do you think of my cultivation state? Lin Fan asked. Puny aunt, sovereign King Wei replied honestly. Lin Fan rolled back his eyes, evidently displeased with the sovereign King Wei's reply. Ant here, ant there. Every single word that came out of his mouth was about ants. What a cocky fellow. Then, would you believe me if I said that I could definitely injure you in 2 moves? Lin Fan asked. Haha, joke, what a joke, you foolish ant, even if your majesty were to stand here and let you attack for an entire lifetime, you wouldn't be able to break through my defenses. Sovereign King Wei burst out into tears from laughing, as if he had just heard the most incredulous joke of his entire life. And with that, Lin Fan already had a rough idea of what the outcome of the sovereign King Wei would be like. If their roles were to be switched and he was the boss while the sovereign King Wei was the lead, how obvious would this trick be? If the lead were to have the strength to take down the boss and yet, Here he was, wasting time talking nonsense. Wouldn't he be one hell of a dumb FCK? Sovereign King Wei, I do not think it's that funny at all. After all, I can definitely injure you severely within just 2 moves. Lin Fan taunted. HMPH, big words. Your Majesty here does not have the time to waste talking to an ant, the Sovereign King Wei hollered out as he was about to slap out with his palm. The moment Lin Fan caught sight of this, he retaliated immediately. You're a coward, Sovereign King Wei. This is an act of fear. You're afraid of being injured by an ant of a desolate celestial cultivation state. Haha, Sovereign King Wei of the ancient race. More like a self-jerking coward. Lin Fan laughed out frantically with an imposing look. However, his heart was thumping more furiously than ever. Oh, lordy lords of the heavens. Please bless me and lower the intelligence of this Sovereign King Wei, please. Lin Fan had already prepared himself for the fact that if the Sovereign King Wei were to strike down, he would definitely die without a doubt. Even though he possessed the ability of rebirth through blood, he did not know if someone as powerful as the Sovereign King Wei would or would not be able to sense that he wasn't truly dead, and was just trying to revive through his blood. And, if he could sense it, then there was nothing more to be said about that. Lin Fan would definitely be dead meat. Lin Fan was praying in his heart right now. This guy's intelligence must definitely be lowered. Even if it were only for the shortest period of time, that would do. Oh, Buddhas and gods. If you could lower the IQ of this Sovereign King Wei for just that bit of time, I'm willing to give up 10 years of my lifespan. Please, please. Lin Fan knew that prayers were all lies. However, these were the only things he could depend on right now. Shing. Just then, the Heaven and Earth Sutra that was imprinted on Lin Fan's back but had never ever caused any reaction suddenly activated. It emitted out a slight glow. This glow was really mysterious, as if it were filled with some godly authority. Yet to sense the appearance of the glow, Lin Fan looked at the Sovereign King Wei nervously. Sovereign King Wei looked back at Lin Fan in contempt. He couldn't even be bothered with the words of this ant-like human being in the least bit. After all, he had trodden through all the ancient times for such a long time now. How could he possibly be provoked by the words of a mere ant? Sovereign King Wei truly did not wish to waste any more time with this ant at all. HMPH, human. Your little tricks will not work on your Majesty. Your Majesty has never ever been bothered by stuff like that. Go to hell, Sovereign King Wei snorted coldly. However, that imposing malevolent face of his changed suddenly. From the unknowns, a mysterious form of energy seeped its way into the Sovereign King Wei's body. Alright, since that's the case, your Majesty shall grant your wish, Ant. It's time to let you know how puny you truly are, Ant. As though his character had changed 180 degrees, Sovereign King Wei's tone was filled with mockery and derision right now. No velp in .c ohm. EHHHHH. All prepared to die, Lin Fan was suddenly caught unaware by the sudden change in Sovereign King Wei's attitude. Earlier on, the Sovereign King Wei had evidently already thrust out his power, and was ready to strike, when he suddenly retracted his blow and agreed to Lin Fan's request wholeheartedly. Right now, Lin Fan was resisting the impulse to just cry out. He had suddenly realized that there were still ancient beings with an impaired IQ within this world. Really? Lin Fan asked with some disbelief in his tone. HMPH, cut your crap, your Majesty here shall only give you 3 breaths worth of time. Once the 3 breaths are up, your Majesty shall surely take your life. Standing upright, the Sovereign King Wei hollered out confidently. 3 breaths. Lin Fan took in a deep breath. Suddenly, his face changed as he hurried right up ahead. That single bit of hesitation earlier on had already cost him 1 breath's time. How would he still dare to waste any more time at all? You're truly not moving. Standing right in front of the Sovereign King Wei, Lin Fan was pretty nervous right now. This was the repression that he was feeling from the difference in power. HMPH, 2 breaths. A nasty gleam shone by Sovereign King Wei's eyes. It was as if he were trying to prove that he was a man of his words. FCK. This was the only word that Lin Fan could exclaim out in his heart right now. How could he still hesitate? Wasn't this the chance that he had wanted so badly? Oh lordy lords, Buddhas and gods. Yours truly thanks your entire families of deities. Chapter 551. I'll humiliate you till death. Chapter 551. I'll humiliate you till death. At this moment, Lin Fan was bursting with joy. He was going to use the strength he sucked on his mother's titties with to let the Sovereign King Wei understand the true horrors of what it would be like to look down on yours truly. As to why the Sovereign King Wei would agree to it suddenly, Lin Fan did not want to think too much about it anymore. At times, luck was an integral part of one's strength as well. Who knew, the sovereign King Wei might have been mesmerized by his handsome looks, and found himself unable to reject such a suave man. Lin Fan only required a single thousandth of a second. Swinging out with his left hand, it was as though he possessed a boundless amount of power. Speed was the essence. This unparalleled speed surpassed everything as it tore through the void, leaving the sovereign King Wei no time to react at all. Come on out, my 9-5 legendary brick. Time's up. Instantly, the sovereign King Wei hollered out as a massive amount of energy burst forth from his body. His eyes shone with a bright gaze. It was as though he could kill off this ant before him 1,000 times and more with just that single look of his, without having to use any of his own strength. Piok! This sweet, crisp sound rang out like the tunes one would hear of in the heavens. Floating through the air, they echoed within Lin Fan's ears. Just as the sovereign King Wei was about to strike out and kill this ant of a human, he found his head spinning rapidly and his consciousness clouding up, into a daze. Thud, without any sensation, he collapsed onto the ground. Ha 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 ha. Lin Fan burst out laughing wildly at the scene before him. In fact, he was laughing so wildly that he even began to cough out. Sovereign King Wei, you piece of trash. How dare you fight against yours truly? See, who's the dumb FCK now? Looking at this mighty and imposing sovereign King Wei collapsed like a dead dog before his face, the feeling was immensely pleasurable for Lin Fan. This was a super mega boss, at the divine celestial level 7, all in one state. To think that he would be lying before yours truly like this. Rearing his head up into the sky, yours truly's eyes were brimming with tears of joy. Did yours truly have an easy path coming to where he was today? Definitely not. Lin Fan stomped on the sovereign King Wei's face with his foot and hands akimbo on his waist. If only his massive audience were beside him right now. But, what a pity, there was only him and the sovereign King Wei in this empty place. Sovereign King Wei, yours truly has told you beforehand. 2 moves, that's all I need for you to end up like a dead duck. How about now, do you finally submit to my might? Lin Fan burst out laughing in exhilaration. Nothing could compete with this feeling at all. Even though he was only mumbling to himself right now, it still did not diminish the level of joy he was feeling. Time to see what capabilities you've got. Lin Fan rubbed his lower chin. Extracting his eternal axe, he slammed it down at the head of the sovereign King Wei. The edge of the eternal axe was sharper than what anything could ever hope to defend against. However, the moment it landed on the sovereign King Wei's head, it clanged loudly, as though it had just been slammed against a piece of metal. Sparks flew at the collision spot, leaving only a single white dent. Holy FCK, that's tough. Seems like the defenses of someone as powerful as such must have long defied the heavens. After this experiment, Lin Fan understood that it must be practically impossible to cross the gap of difference with these many levels. After all, if he couldn't even break through this guy's physical body state, what else was there to speak of? Hey, well, since this is a rare opportunity, it's time to train up this fella then. Lin Fan's eyes shone brightly. After all, if he were to kill such a big boss just like that, it'd be quite the waste. Twisting heaven and earth, true origins crushing kick, black tiger steals heart, etc. All of these skills had yet to level up just yet. It'd be a real shame if he didn't make use of such a great opportunity to properly train them up. 3-headed and 6-armed faceless sky demon. Thunder trainer king. Zigwang, Long Zon, big ancient demon, all of you guys, come on out. Lin Fan hated it the most when there were no audiences while he was training up. But, things were good right now, since he had all these weapon spirits with him. Is this the sovereign King Wei? The moment the Marquis of Despair Zigwang and Long Zon came out and caught sight of the ancient race being lying on the ground, they revealed a look of shock. How about this? Am I not powerful? A small fry like this is someone I can settle in a move or two. Tossing his long locks back, Lin Fan replied imposingly. Bravo, master, bravo. The Marquis of Despair and Long Zon nodded their heads silently. They had not expected their master to be this powerful, such that even the sovereign King Wei wasn't his match at all. This was the epitome of terror. The moment Thunder Trainer King caught sight of a heaven-defying existence such as the sovereign King Wei, a look of lust spread across his face as well. He couldn't help but tighten his grip on that lightning whip in his hands. Right now, he was just resisting the impulse to train up the sovereign King Wei. Don't even think of training him up. Lin Fan dismissed the thought from the Thunder Trainer King's head straight away. Who knew what the sovereign King Wei would do once he was in an awakened state? Even if Lin Fan were to strike him with twisting heaven and earth, black tiger steals heart or true origins crushing kick, he had no confidence to guarantee that the sovereign King Wei wouldn't just disregard the pain entirely and retaliate, killing him with a single strike. Therefore, there was no way Lin Fan was going to take that risk. Taking a single look at the sovereign King Wei, the big ancient demon cast his glance to one side immediately. For him, someone such as the sovereign King Wei wasn't worth his attention at all. The only ones who could bother him were the utmost beings of the ancient race. Hey! Suddenly, Lin Fan broke out with a bright chuckle as he circled around the sovereign King Wei's side. Round and round, he took a closer inspection. There's a storage ring. Lin Fan took the storage ring of the sovereign King Wei excitedly. For someone this powerful, the treasures that he possessed must definitely be extremely shocking. The moment Lin Fan opened up the storage ring of the sovereign King Wei, he was blinded by the items he saw within. Within that storage ring were countless Dao weapons. In fact, there was even a row of utmost treasures. But, just as Lin Fan was about to celebrate his immense luck, all the Dao weapons and utmost treasures within the storage ring shone brightly. It was as though they could sense that it was an outsider that had opened the storage ring, and were all ready to kill Lin Fan. Holy FCK! Without any hesitation, Lin Fan closed the storage ring shut immediately. That was scary. Lin Fan could feel a chill down his spine as he wiped off the beads of perspiration on his forehead. If he were to be charged at by these weapon spirits, he would definitely be dead for sure. Highs! To think that I can only watch from afar and not have them for myself. This is infuriating, Lin Fan huffed out, but it didn't matter. The biggest prize right now was the sovereign King Wei. As for the items within the storage ring, he would just have to wait till his personal strength was raised high enough for him to take down all the weapon spirits with ease. It was time to start cultivating. Lin Fan handed his 9-5 legendary brick over to his 3-headed and 6-armed faceless sky demon. His duty was to slam down on the sovereign King Wei's head every 1 minute to prevent the latter from waking up. Slowly, Lin Fan spread out the sovereign King Wei's legs widely. Closing his eyes gently, his aura was raised to a maximum right now. By the time he opened his eyes, a bright flash shone out. I'll kick. That leg was slammed right at the sovereign King Wei's groin. In fact, the speed of his kicking went so fast that the only thing one could see by now was a shadow. Every single second, Lin Fan kicked almost thousands of times. Ding! True Origins Crushing Kick Experience Points Plus. Ding! True Origins Crushing Kick Experience Points Plus. ... The notifications of the system were relentless right now. Every single second that passed brought for him a sea of experience points. Lin Fan could clearly sense the true skill seed within his body expanding rapidly, as the power level of True Origins Crushing Kick spiked vertically. Pleasure. True pleasure. At this moment, Lin Fan smiled. However, the sovereign King Wei was in a state more tragic than ever. Even though he was in a state of unconsciousness, without any feelings at all, that object between his groin was expanding in size. It was growing so big that it seemed it could explode at any moment. November LBJNN. Chapter 552, Frenzied Cultivation. Chapter 552, Frenzied Cultivation. Tragic. This was extremely tragic. For anyone to fall into the hands of a sicko such as Lin Fan, the outcome would be utterly unimaginable. Ding! True Origins Crushing Kick has leveled up. Lin Fan was smiling right now. Each time he leveled up, he would feel the size of the true skill seed within his body expanding. Lin Fan had taken a long time to raise his balls kicking into the True Origins Crushing Kick that it was today. By now, every single level required a shishti load of experience points. If not for the fact that the sovereign King Wei was this strong, leveling this skill would definitely be harder than ascending the heavens itself. By now, the true skill seed of the True Origins Crushing Kick was churning furiously within Lin Fan's body. Each time it swiveled, it would absorb in a large amount of energy. Under the nourishment of the energy, the true skill seed increased in size. Time passed by the seconds and minutes. In fact, Lin Fan was getting a little tired of kicking by now. This was especially the case given how grotesque the sovereign King Wei's crotch was looking. To think that the great sovereign King Wei, who was under the direct command of the utmost being, would be subjected to such cruel torments. If news of this were to get out, tons of people would be scared to death because of it. November LBJNN. Each time Lin Fan dished out his kicks, the Marquis of Despair Ziguang and Long Zan would wince a little, as though it was really difficult for them to watch this. On the other hand, the Thunder Trainer King was watching wide-eyed, without shifting his attention at all. It was as though he was taking the chance to learn a new method, as those shifty eyes of his shone with an absolute brilliance. At this moment, Lin Fan's actions came to a stop. He could feel that if he were to carry on with his current path, the Sovereign King Wei's groin would truly explode. It was time to train up some other skills. Black Tiger Steel's heart had been ready from the start. Without any hesitation, Lin Fan immediately shot out both of his fists like twin dragons. All punch and all punch. Lin Fan was going at a good pace as the Sovereign King Wei's body thumped up and down under the rapid fire. Due to this, the experience points of Black Tiger Steel's heart were skyrocketing as well. The true skill seed spun wildly as its power level spiked. Ding! Black Tiger Steel's heart has leveled up. Ding! Black Tiger Steel's heart has leveled up. Huff! Lin Fan heaved out a sigh deeply. This was the first time he was having such a pleasurable time leveling up. Seemed like the Sovereign King Wei was really useful after all. Even if he were about to die, he could still contribute to the masses. What a glorious event his death would be. Once Lin Fan was done with his Black Tiger Steel's heart training, countless sword wills burst forth from his body. Firmament Sword. By now, Lin Fan could produce 4 different types of sword wills. Based on Firmament Sword's highest state of being, it could produce 9 different types of sword wills. However, with the help of the system, Lin Fan was sure that he could definitely raise it to new heights. Firmament Sword, poke him down. PSHEW. PSHEW. Just like that, sword wills filled the skies as they bolted down cruelly towards that swollen groin of the Sovereign King Wei. Ding! Experience points plus 100,000 feet. Ding! Experience points plus 100,000 feet. Ding! Firmament Sword has leveled up. Ding! Congratulations on obtaining the 5th sword will. Before long, Lin Fan heard the notification from the system, bringing joy to his heart. Indeed, leveling up was pretty fast right now. However, this was far from enough. He must definitely squeeze the Sovereign King Wei dry of benefits. The 5th sword will was made for reaping. Multi-sword burst. In the blink of an eye, countless sword wills appeared in the void and shot down like meteors under Lin Fan's control. PSHEW. PSHEW. This unparalleled sword will sliced at the Sovereign King Wei's body. However, this brought about no damage to the Sovereign King Wei's body. In fact, it couldn't even slice off a single strand of hair from him. Ding! Firmament Sword has leveled up. Ding! Congratulations on obtaining the 6th sword will. Ding! Firmament Sword has leveled up. Ding! Congratulations on obtaining the 7th sword will. Under this flurry of strikes, the 7th sword will of Firmament Sword was cultivated. 7 different sword wills, each with their own unique differences. Naturally, the power produced was different as well. The moment Lin Fan had cultivated the 5th sword will, he was able to start unleashing the full potential of Firmament Sword. The Reaping Sword will, the Void Sword will, the Destruction Sword will. Despite hearing the notifications from the system, Lin Fan continued relentlessly without stopping, trying to see if he could cultivate out the 8th sword will. For most people, cultivating Firmament Sword would require them to comprehend the sword will before cultivating it out. However, for Lin Fan, if he couldn't get to comprehend it, all he had to do was dump experience points at it. Ding! Firmament Sword has leveled up. Ding! Congratulations on obtaining the 8th sword will. The instant he comprehended the 8th sword will, all the other sword wills vibrated immensely. It was as though they were undergoing some change now that they were cultivated to a new higher state. Ding! Congratulations on comprehending the emptiness sword will. Suddenly, the true skill seed of Firmament Sword began to churn and underwent a spontaneous change, turning into the shape of a longsword. Shing! Suddenly, something happened that blew off Lin Fan's mind. To think that the emptiness sword would manage to slice the Sovereign King Wei's skin. Even though it was just slightly ripped, this was still no doubt an improvement to Lin Fan. Indeed, there's nothing between the heaven and earth that could be sharper than a sword will. And just as Lin Fan was about to go on and cultivate the 9th sword will, he realized that no matter how much he struck out, the system did not gain any bit of experience points at all. Seems like this the Sovereign King Wei can't make it anymore now. This 8th sword will should probably be the limit right now. If I want to cultivate the 9th sword will, it seems as though I would have to thoroughly comprehend the emptiness sword. Lin Fan had already managed to comprehend the meaning of everything with ease. Hence, Lin Fan stopped with his training of Firmament Sword and went on to the others. Doomsday Calamity Fist, Demon God Wheel, Firmament. All of these skills burst forth from Lin Fan, and the practice target for them was none other than the mighty the Sovereign King Wei. Under the repeated blasts of Lin Fan, signs of cracks began to show up on the Sovereign King Wei's body. Even though they weren't really visible, they did exist nevertheless. Seemed like the Sovereign King Wei's body truly couldn't withstand it after a certain point. With this, Lin Fan understood that this should have been the way it was. Given time, even a single dripping drop of water could penetrate through a piece of rock. No matter how tough the Sovereign King Wei was, his body would eventually give way. All the 10 true skill seeds that Lin Fan was cultivating right now expanded enormously, giving off power way greater than before. Given Lin Fan's current strength, even though he had yet to cross over to the Divine Celestial state, he could definitely take down a Divine Celestial Level 1, true state being. This was the result of his tireless hard work. The Marquis of Despair Ziguang and Long Zan were just looking at Lin Fan with their mouths wide agape. They had not expected Lin Fan's powers to be this great. In fact, all the skills that he was using were extremely powerful. If not for the fact that his cultivation state was still pretty low right now, all his skills would definitely result in a devastating impact. Even though the Marquis of Despair's cultivation state wasn't that high, he did have a pretty wide knowledge of the world, given his reign as an overlord for the past thousands of years. By the looks of it, unless his master were to die an unfortunate death somewhere in the middle, the destruction of the ancient race would definitely not be a mere dream if he were to continue growing at this rate. Alright, time to kill that Sovereign King Wei. Lin Fan laughed coldly. It was time for the main show now. Since normal methods couldn't kill off the Sovereign King Wei, there was only one thing left to do. Heaven and Earth Smelt. Chapter 553, Does it hurt? Do you submit? Chapter 553, Does it hurt? Do you submit? The Heaven and Earth Smelt stood tall between the heaven and earth. Lin Fan sighed as he grabbed the Sovereign King Wei by the ankles and dragged him along. To think that the mighty and peerless Sovereign King Wei would be dragged by Lin Fan like a dead pig right now. Even till the final moments of his death, he wouldn't know how he died. This could be described as nothing but a tragedy. The Marquis of Despair Ziguang, Long Zan, and the others stared at their master blankly, wondering what he was up to. The 3-headed and 6-armed faceless sky demon opened the lid of the Heaven and Earth Smelt. Master, can you let me play with him for just a bit? As though he was about to lose something really important to him, the Thunder Trainer King was filled with reluctance. Nopey dopey, Lin Fan replied heartlessly and decisively, without a single bit of hesitation, causing the heart of the Thunder Trainer King to break. For the Thunder Trainer King, his master was just a man without any sense of human emotions. Why couldn't he understand the virtue of sharing resources? But to Lin Fan, he was just cussing in his mind. Train his mother. Who knows what in the world would happen if he had allowed the Thunder Trainer King to train the Sovereign King Wei. If the Sovereign King Wei were to wake up halfway through and come at him with that immense and peerless strength, who could Lin Fan complain to about that tragedy? With that, Lin Fan tossed the Sovereign King Wei into the Heaven and Earth Smelt. Bam! November LBJNN. With that, the lid of the smelt slammed shut as the lone figure of the Sovereign King Wei laid within. Haha, Lin Fan was relaxed right now. He felt as though he could fly up in the air from all the joy. This was the best feeling ever. Seemed like that was about it for the divine celestial powerful being, Sovereign King Wei. To think that he would dare to seek out yours truly for vengeance. Courting death. Lin Fan did not smelt the Sovereign King Wei instantly. After all, there was still a bit of indignance that he had yet to unleash. Later on when the Sovereign King Wei were to wake up, he would definitely mock the latter thoroughly. 1 minute later, Sovereign King Wei was beginning to stir up from his slumber. The moment his eyes opened up, he burst into a maddened holler and slapped out. This single slap possessed a boundless amount of strength within it. However, because he was within the Heaven and Earth Smelt, there was no impact at all. Where in the world am I? Damned human, where have you gone to? Right now, the Sovereign King Wei was really blurred and confused, not knowing what in the world was going on. Even if there was some secret technique to knock him out, there was no way it could have knocked out his essence spirit. WHO, just WHO in the world is there. Sovereign King Wei observed his surroundings. This seemed like the insides of a treasure. The golden walls shone with a bright brilliance. However, the thing that shocked the Sovereign King Wei was the fact that his slap could not even rattle the place at all. Sovereign King Wei, you can stop with your futile struggles. Within this place, even if you were to unleash everything you've got, you would never be able to break out of it. Looking at the helpless look on the Sovereign King Wei's face, Lin Fan laughed casually. WHO, are you that human? The moment he heard this voice, the Sovereign King Wei's face crumpled up as he hollered out sternly. At the same time, he frowned. How the hell did he end up here? Also, where in the world was this place? That's right, yours truly had already made himself clear. I can definitely take you down within just 2 moves. Do you believe me right now? At times, one mustn't be too haughty, especially if they're an ancient race being such as yourself. Lin Fan replied calmly. Right now, he was the star of the show. The life and death of the sovereign King Wei were in the palm of his hands. There was no way he could escape. B*****. How can that be? I am sovereign King Wei, the direct underling under the command of the utmost being. How can I be taken down by a mere human such as yourself? Sovereign King Wei was thoroughly riled right now. This was an utter humiliation for him. In that instant, the sovereign King Wei's body burst forth with an immense energy. This surge of energy was stronger than anything anyone could imagine, as it struck straight at the heaven and earth smelt. At the same time, he thrust his essence spirit into the void, desperate to break out of this place. However, to his fright, this place seemed to be cut off from the outside completely. No matter how much energy he exerted or how many skills he cast, he just couldn't get himself out of this place. Impossible, impossible. That imposing demeanor on the sovereign King Wei's face disappeared suddenly. Replacing it was a look of utter fear. He could not believe that there would be such a treasure within the world that could block out his path forward. In fact, to think that such a treasure would belong to a human. HMPH, nothing is impossible in this world. In the hands of yours truly, even if you're a godly existence, you will have to die in this place while bearing your regrets. Lin Fan smiled brightly. Nothing could compare with his happiness right now. At the same time, Lin Fan was heartened that he had the system with him. Otherwise, he would have died a long time ago without knowing how. Sovereign King Wei was an existence that defied the heavens itself. Someone who had trodden over all the other ancient race beings and was of a divine celestial level 7, all in one state. This was the strongest ancient race being that Lin Fan had ever encountered. At the same time, this made Lin Fan painfully aware of the strength of the ancient race utmost beings. They were definitely existences that had surpassed even the 10 levels of divine celestial cultivation states. Seemed like he still had to be careful from now on and not let something like today happen yet again. By now, Sovereign King Wei had calmed down, and like human, even though I do not know what sort of trickery you have engaged to get your majesty within here, your majesty has to see for himself just what sort of capabilities you've got to deal with me. My powers are boundless, and I've got many tricks up my sleeves. I'll definitely break out of this place and kill you mercilessly. Ho ho, you still wanna act tough, Seems like it's time for yours truly to show you the true powers of my heaven and earth smelt. Focusing his spirit, the smelt flared up as it burst forth with its powers. In that instance, all the unknown and mysterious smelting powers erupted out from the smelt. Arg, under the might of the smelt, Sovereign King Wei howled out sorrowfully. It was as though something was repressing his body right now and was disintegrating him from within. To think that even that ancient imperishable body of his would show signs of melting down at this moment. How could this be? Damned human, what have you done to your majesty? Sovereign King Wei bellowed. He could not believe that this human could achieve something like this. To think that a mere ant of desolate celestial cultivation state could possess such a treasure. Even if this were an utmost treasure, it shouldn't possess a power of this level. Human, let your majesty out right now. Otherwise, your majesty swears that you'll die without a corpse. Sovereign King Wei screamed out. The pain that was rippling through his body was horrendous. Hey, let you out. Do you think that yours truly is as silly as you? But I've got to ask you. Does it hurt right now? Lin Fan sniggered sinisterly. B****, your majesty swears that I'll rip you apart. Sovereign King Wei lashed out as the flames of hatred burned in his heart. He wanted to resist this devastating smelting force. However, it was as though the force neglected everything. Seems like you really love acting tough, Seems like the pain isn't enough, Looking at how brazen the Sovereign King Wei was behaving, Lin Fan could not tolerate it anymore. With that, he turned the smelting power up a notch. The heaven and earth swapped over as the Sovereign King Wei was like a piece of fish meat on a grill right now. He had no way of resisting at all. Under the might of this smelting power, he could only wail out in pain. Does it hurt? Do you feel good? Do you submit to me? Human, I'll have you dead. Sovereign King Wei blared out malevolently. Even if your majesty were to die, I will have you accompany me. Holy FCK, is this guy going to self-destruct? Looking at the state the Sovereign King Wei was in right now, Lin Fan's heart skipped a beat. Even though he knew that this heaven and earth smelt was strong, he did not dare to guarantee that it could remain intact from the Sovereign King Wei's self-destruction. If something were to be damaged in the heaven and earth smelt, it would be too late for tears. Human, just you wait, the utmost being will seek revenge for me. Smelt. Suddenly, the heaven and earth smelt erupted with its fullest force as that sturdy smelting power was infused within the heaven and earth smelt. Lin Fan opened up his arms spread eagle and closed his eyes gently, awaiting that beautiful sound of the notification. The moment he killed the sovereign King Wei, the experience points would definitely burst through the roof. Come on over, experience points. I'm ready. Chapter 554, Explode and Explode. Chapter 554, Explode and Explode. Ding, congratulations on smelting. Ding, congratulations on killing Divine Celestial Level 7, all-in-one state being, Sovereign King Wei. Ding, experience points plus 3 million in vel b in .c ohm. Ding, congratulations on leveling up. Ding, cultivation state. Divine Celestial Level 1, true state. Upon hearing the notifications from the system, Lin Fan instantly felt a burst of power surging through his body. The true energy within his body was compressed into a bean-sized pearl. At the same time, he could feel his blood, tendons, and cells rushing towards this pearl as well. Bam! The pearl exploded suddenly as the fluid within flowed through every single part of his body. It was as though everything in his body had been concentrated into this fluid. His body seemed to be churning repeatedly. Lin Fan could evidently feel the power level within his body rising up. The moment Lin Fan's mythical parasol tree within his inner world felt this surge of energy, it began to germinate and grow even larger. Indeed, all things beneath a divine celestial are nothing but ants. One would only tread on the true path of cultivation upon reaching the divine celestial cultivation state. The living beings of the thousands of races out there were at the top of all the spirits of the world, as the energies of the heaven and earth culminated within. Upon entering the divine celestial cultivation state, one would open the doors of the so-called Emperor Forbidden Realm. The Ark of Wisdom is isolated, without limits for all powers. Upon entering the divine celestial cultivation state and breaking through into the Emperor Forbidden Realm, one's wisdom would be like an ark which could carry everything along with it, resisting all evils from penetrating through. Within Lin Fan's mind stood various figures of deity spirits. An image of Buddha was producing golden lotuses with a bright, golden glow, which removed all impurities in the world. In this state, one's powers would be boundless. Using one's wisdom as a foundation, they would carry forth with them all the energies of the heavens and earth. This was a mysterious and amazing feeling. If one had not experienced it for themselves, they would never know how wondrous this feeling could be. Complete. Within Lin Fan's mind, a long river of powers began to flow down rapidly, filling up all parts of his body. Every single cell of his began to absorb this power at a frenzied speed. Those empty cells were now filled with powers and shone brightly like a crystal. This boundless power found itself replenishing every single portion of Lin Fan's body. A single wave by him was enough to cause an earth-shattering and devastating reaction. At this moment, his wisdom began to spike as well. The boundless amount of wisdom allowed Lin Fan to comprehend many more things. In fact, every single one of his skills were laid out before him in his mind right now. Every single skill that he had once learned, every single thing that he had ever forgotten, all of them appeared in his mind in that instant. In this miraculous realm, Lin Fan could visualize multiple forms of his very existence. With that, every single Lin Fan was performing a set of skills on their own. Purging the impurities and collecting only the essence. Even if his skills could level up with the help of the system, there would still be unnecessary impurities gathered along his way up to the top. If he hadn't discovered them by himself right now, he might never be able to comprehend them fully. At the end of the day, one must always depend on oneself. The system can only be taken as a form of assistance and not a form of reliance. Every single thing that had slipped away from his memories were flashing by his head like a cinema reel right now. Lin Fan felt as though he had gone through multiple cycles of reincarnation at this moment. Opening the Emperor Forbidden Realm allowed Lin Fan to comprehend a world of logic. At the same time, his view of the system was gradually shifting as well. While the system was invincible, it wasn't invincible at the same time. It worked as an assistant. Lin Fan could control the system, but he could never allow the system to control him. The moment this thought appeared in Lin Fan's mind, he buried it down within his heart. Now that he had entered Divine Celestial Level 1, true state, his powers were way stronger than before by at least 100 times. At the same time, the amount of energy that was gathered within his body was way more robust than before as well. Ding! Congratulations on leveling up. Ding! Cultivation state. Divine Celestial Level 2, Realm state. Suddenly, all his powers went berserk as they gushed out madly. The surge of power had not ended just yet as he found himself ascending into a state that could only be described as mysterious beyond mysterious. With the wave of his palm, a massive surge of energy ruptured out. With his body as a center, it rippled out in a circular shockwave around him. He suddenly found himself aware of every single living being and thing in the vicinity. Every single move and action undertaken by anyone were within his knowledge. It was as though he was the one true God within this entire realm. Bigra, Black Tiger Steel's Heart, True Origins Crushing Kick. Thunder Trainer King. ... In the blink of an eye, Lin Fan released all his skills. Relieving themselves from Lin Fan's control, they turned into golden talisman papers and floated into the realm. Who reigns supreme? Suddenly, all the skills that had delved within the realm began to duke it out. This was a duel to determine who would reign as the king of the realm. Lin Fan slapped out with his palm. While it was a gentle slap, the amount of power possessed by it was immense, as he shattered all the talisman papers altogether. Fuse. It was simple for Lin Fan. He wanted to craft out the strongest realm personally. The impetuousness of Bigra, the imposingness of Black Tiger Steel's Heart, the crushing sensation on one's nuggets of True Origins Crushing Kick, etc. It was time to fuse all of them together to form the most terrifying realm ever. Under Lin Fan's command, all of these skills began to wisen up and fuse together obediently. In that instant, rainbow-colored pearls spread with bright light shimmering from them as they floated gently within the realm. Eventually, all of them rose up and diffused themselves within this misty realm. Suddenly, Lin Fan opened up his eyes as a bright beam of golden light pierced out at the world. He could see through everything now. Divine Celestial Level 2, Realm State. The rising amount of energy pleased Lin Fan to no ends. He had not expected to level up twice without any interferences just by killing the Sovereign King Wei. But, aren't the amount of experience points way too little? This wasn't Lin Fan's greed that was speaking. The question was, why in the world did a bloody Divine Celestial Level 7, all-in-one state powerful being provide so little experience points? This didn't make sense. No sense at all. Ding. Congratulations on obtaining Sovereign King Wei's Paradise Shard. Ding. Congratulations on obtaining Sovereign King Wei's Undying Bloodline. 1 drop. Ding. Congratulations on obtaining Sovereign King Wei's Essence Spirit Shard. Ding. Congratulations on obtaining Sovereign King Wei's Law Shard. Indeed, it was as I had expected. Someone as grandiose and mighty as the Sovereign King Wei couldn't possibly provide so little experience points. This should be due to the fact that he was smelted. As such, all of his cultivation state wasn't converted into experience points entirely, but were turned into remnants of his cultivation state's comprehension. Upon entering the Divine Celestial Cultivation State, Lin Fan had a much better understanding of things. He would have to spend a fair amount of time molding to every single cultivation state he was in, so that they could reach the peak status. By the time he was to enter the law state, the power of law within his body must definitely have reached its peak state as well. Therefore, the reason why he was stuck at the realm state right now was because his mastery of the realm state hadn't reached its peak yet. The key to him moving on to the next cultivation state would be to mold this current state into perfection. Seems like the system must have understood this point from the start. Hence, it did not convert the Sovereign King Wei into experience points entirely, but chose to leave his cultivation comprehension into remnant shards instead, so that I can use them to work on. The moment Lin Fan thought of this, every single doubt in his mind began to make sense. Paradise Shard. Divine Celestial Level 3, Paradise State. Usable. Undying Bloodline. Able to raise one's physical body state. Usable. ... As for the remaining 2 items, they were items that Lin Fan could not make use of just yet. However, it would be good to keep them for the future. Use Undying Bloodline. Lin Fan started without any hesitation. After all, one's physical body state was of great importance. Ding. Use Undying Bloodline. Ding. Eternal Immortality leveled up. Ding. Eternal Immortality evolved into Eternal God Body. Ding. Physical body state leveled up. Desolate Celestial Upper Level. Ding. Eternal God Body leveled up. Ding. Physical body state leveled up. Desolate Celestial Full Cultivation. Ding. Physical body state leveled up. Divine Celestial Level 1. ... Ha ha ha, this is amazing. Lin Fan was so excited that he was about to burst into tears. The boss was not the boss for nothing. To think that he would provide such rewards post his death. The spike of his cultivation state was just like a rocket bursting into the sky. Even his physical body state had bolted all the way up to the Divine Celestial state. Right now, Lin Fan's confidence towards the future was rising rapidly as well. As long as he continued on this path, he would definitely be an utmost god figure one day. Chapter 555, His Terrifying Moves. Chapter 555, His Terrifying Moves. Within the center region of the ancient saint world, 8 splendid and majestic buildings stood towering over the heaven and earth. These 8 towers formed a circular shape. In the middle of these 8 buildings existed a black hole of unfathomable darkness. A dense series of light beams existed on the surface of the black hole that were strung together like the web of a spider. Within one of those towers, an ancient being was seated on his jewel throne lazily, as he twirled a spherical ball in his palm. This spherical ball was sparkling and translucent, while a gray light swirled within. Lord Utmost Being, Sovereign King Wei has died. Just then, one of the ancient race servants appeared from within the darkness. His head was lowered with a look of fear on his face, not daring to look at the utmost being seated on his jewel throne straight in the eyes. Okay. The ancient race being on the jewel throne let out a deep and soft sound. However, this servant clearly understood that the silence of the utmost being meant another thing altogether. The Lord was thoroughly angered right now. Lord Utmost Being, your underling here shall take his leave then. As though he was feeling repressed by the rage, the servant could not wait to leave this suffocating place immediately. Do you wish to be an overlord and look down on the masses as ants? Suddenly, the ancient race being on the jewel throne spoke up once more. The voice was hoarse and cold, without a single strain of emotion. It was as if all beings in this world were nothing but ants to him. Lord Utmost Being, the ancient race servant's face changed. He was emotional right now. However, it was mostly due to fear. After all, the Lord Utmost Being was the most fearsome existence for all the ancient race beings out there. Suddenly, a cold light flashed by. November LBJNN. The mysterious bead that the ancient race being was toying with in his palms floated gently above the head of the ancient race servant. From this day forth, you shall be the sovereign King Wei. These were the words of this ancient race being, one of the 8 utmost beings. From that bead, a mysterious aura burst forth and caged the ancient race servant within. Suddenly, the ancient race servant howled out tragically as his body expanded crazily. It was as though something was trying to find its way out of his body right now. A terrifying surge of energy erupted out of his body. This aura was pretty similar to the sovereign King Wei of before in strength. Ha 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 ha. Looking at the servant before him, the ancient race utmost being who was seated on his jewel throne burst out into laughter. Just who is it that could have killed your utmost's dog? To think that I couldn't sniff out that guy. Also, even that little bugger, the Marquis of Despair, has disappeared into thin air. Just where in the world is he? The utmost being of the ancient race rubbed his chin as though he was just contemplating something really casual. If Lin Fan were there to witness the scene, he would have frozen up immediately. After all, the utmost being of the ancient race was way too sick. To think that he could create yet another sovereign King Wei with almost no effort at all. What sort of psychotic strength should one possess in order to do something of this level? Right now, Lin Fan was relishing that massive amount of energy within his body. The experience of being in realm state was something he could never get bored of. After all, he truly felt as though he was the one true god within that realm of his. The realm possessed all sorts of skills. Fusing together into one, the amount of power that was emanated from the convergence was even more horrifying. This was especially the case for Bigra. Lin Fan did not believe that there could be anyone in this world who could defend against Bigra. As long as he entered this realm, a boundless amount of Bigra would surge out along with all sorts of heaven-defying skills. For anyone in this world, entering this realm would be equivalent to entering hell. Yours truly's path to an ultimate massacre is truly initiated today. Now that I'm at the divine celestial level 2, realm state, as long as I don't meet some sick psycho, I can probably duke it out against most other people. Lin Fan was excited beyond words. Standing between the heaven and earth, he reared his head into the sky and revealed a calm smile. It'd be better for him to leave this place as soon as possible. After all, the ancient race must have already been notified of the sovereign King Wei's death. However, since the heaven and earth smelt was isolated from the world itself, even if they knew that he had died, they wouldn't be able to uncover the identity of the killer. Despite that assurance, it'd still be better to move out of this place. Without any hesitation, Lin Fan shifted his body nimbly as he disappeared from the area. With that, Despair City was now just an empty city, without any dangers to the future. Now that Despair City was taken down, this was an incredibly big piece of news for those who were going to ascend from this day forth. This would ensure that their ascension would be much safer than before. Taking the beings of the thousands of races with them, the members of the 6 major sects appeared at a distant place. They're back. Some of the disciples who had been forming a defensive formation in their wait exclaimed out excitedly as they noticed the flickering of their formation. All of these disciples who had been patiently awaiting their return felt extremely emotional. The flicker dissipated. Looking at their surroundings, the rescued captives breathed in the fresh air around them. Now that they were far from that place of endless torments, they could not help but clamor out in excitement. Surveying his surroundings, Dulong heaved a sigh of relief as well. "Brother Du, congratulations on your return." From the distance, a middle-aged man with a sturdy aura was beaming on Dulong's return. However, there was a slight look of incredulity on his face, as though he was finding this to be somewhat unbelievable. The moment he caught sight of the beings of the thousands of races and all the disciples who had gone for the expedition returning safe and sound, he was extremely bewildered. Hadn't this gone a little too well? Of course, it wasn't because he was hoping for any disciple to fall. However, all of them were well aware of the ancient race's strength. It was pretty much a miracle for all of them to return without a single casualty. "Brother Wang, we've made an earth-shaking discovery this time around. During our journey to Despair City, we met with this Mother Sea King Human King. When the Marquis of Despair appeared, the Mother Sea King Human King not only slain the Marquis of Despair, he took down the son of the sovereign King Wei as well." The moment Yulong thought of this, his heart began to thump furiously once more. After all, this was a joyous piece of news for all of them from the thousands of races. What? The moment the middle-aged man heard this, his face turned into one of disbelief immediately. "Brother Wang, let us discuss about this matter later on. Right now, I've got to meet the Grand Master to report on this matter. Please arrange for our disciples to take care of them first." With that, Elder Dulong turned into a streak of light as he shot off into the distance. All of the beings of the thousands of races and the disciples of the 6 major sects were now sharing the tales of today's happenings with everyone else who wasn't able to be there to witness the entire show. All of their faces were filled with exhilaration. That Mother Sea King Human King was way too strong. With a single slam of his hand, all of the million ancient race soldiers were killed instantly. That was some horrifying strength he had. Huh, so strong. Did you guys truly witness this yourselves? The moment the other disciples heard this, their mouths dropped apart, finding it hard to swallow. Yes, we have. Not only were the ancient race soldiers taken down, even the 4 commanders couldn't escape death in the hands of the Mother Sea King Human King. Whew. Everyone who heard this took in a deep breath of cold air. At the same time, they were now immensely curious towards this Mother Sea King Human King, hoping to be able to catch a sight of him one day. Even their own Grand Master wouldn't be able to take down a million ancient race soldiers just like that. Just what sort of an existence was this Mother Sea King Human King? And just as these beings of the thousands of races were busy revering Lin Fan, something was going on. Far away from them, Lin Fan was completely stuck in this problem that had come before him. Chapter 556, An ultimate move as such. Let me keep it hidden. Chapter 556, An ultimate move as such. Let me keep it hidden. Initially, Lin Fan was prepared to make his way forward to check out the sovereign King Wei's territory. To think that he would meet with such a thing along the way. In the distance, 2 groups of people were engaged in a fight right now. Well, they couldn't really be considered as 2 groups of people. After all, one of the parties involved consisted of only a single person. Furthermore, it was a lone woman. While Lin Fan could not make out the features of this woman, he could tell that every single move by her was earth-shattering and surged with power. In fact, she was even holding her ground well against the gang attack of 6 people. Divine Celestial Level 1, True State. November LBJNN. Even though this wasn't a high cultivation state, the thing that shocked Lin Fan the most was that out of those people who were attacking the woman, one of them was even in the realm state. But, she didn't show any signs of being pushed back at all. This was pretty incredible. Seemed like there were truly many geniuses in the ancient saint world. Out of the innumerable beings of the thousands of races out there, many of them were ascended up from their lower worlds. All of these people who could ascend up here could only do so based on their own strength, and were considered geniuses back in their worlds. Therefore, it wasn't surprising that there could even be a few of them who were even more heaven-defying than others. However, to Lin Fan, of course, the humans of Xuanwang world were the geniuses amongst geniuses. Xuanwang world's heaven will was split cleanly into 2, causing a fluctuation in the natural laws of the world. Because of that, cultivating was extremely difficult. Anyone who could even cultivate up to a greater celestial full cultivation state could already be considered as a genius amongst all geniuses. Compared to all the thousands of worlds out there, it was undoubtedly way more difficult to obtain a greater celestial full cultivation state in Xuanwang world. Just who in the world is this woman? And who are those 6 as well? Lin Fan hid himself in the void. Seeing stuff like this, he would always have to hesitate. Heroes saving damsels in distress. This was a thought that had never ever crossed Lin Fan's mind. Most men who lusted after women would often court trouble and die without even knowing how they died. Also, both parties were not ancient race beings. They were all of the thousands of races. So, even if he were to kill them, he wouldn't attract any trouble at all. However, Lin Fan knew that there were good people amongst the beings of the thousands of races as well. If he were to kill them indiscriminately, he wouldn't be able to escape his conscience. Fairy Hongyun, hand over the stuff. The man who was the only divine celestial level 2, realm state being, hollered out. How can you guys strike out at me like this? We're all beings of the thousands of races. We should be standing firm against the ancient race together. Fairy Hongyun was draped in a red skirt with wide sleeves. Her luscious long hair laid down on her shoulders, as she wore a jade belt on her arm. She gave off the fragrance of flowers while she stood firmly with her slender waist and pearl-like eyes. At this moment, her gaze was somewhat angered over the fact that she was surrounded by these 6 people. HMPH, I'll say it one last time. Hand over the stuff. Otherwise, I'll make sure to rip off all of your clothes and let you have a taste of how overbearing we 6 can be. The man in the realm state had brows that were snow white. His imposing aura rumbled, and with his hawk-like gaze, he reeked of a sinister feeling. Despicable thief! Fairy Hongyun yelled out. Her jade belt danced up into the air and expanded out. This bloody bitch is only at the true state. To think that she could be this vicious. Wan Wujun cursed in his mind as his hand moved continuously. The 6 of them were from a notorious sect in the ancient saint world. Their actions were way more vicious and crueler than that of the ancient race beings. They would snatch every single thing they came across. As long as it would benefit them, nothing would escape their grasp. This time around, the 6 of them were traveling around the ancient saint world when they caught sight of a brilliant red flash in the distance. Chasing after it hurriedly, they caught sight of a talisman paper in the hands of this woman. After flashing with that brilliant red flash once more, the talisman paper dimmed down. With that, they garnered that this talisman paper must be something good. Furthermore, given the fact that this woman was a divine celestial level 1, true state being, their hearts of greed were stirred even more. Not only was she pretty, she had a unique treasure at her side. This was an amazing bargain. However, even after chasing for an entire day and night, they had discovered that even though this B** teaches cultivation state wasn't that high, she had many tricks up her sleeves. Even with a realm state being amongst their midst, they couldn't even take her down. ... Bloody hell, aren't these guys just trying to snatch over her treasure and kill her? Not only that, they want to rape her as well. These guys are way too vile. After observing the situation for a while, Lin Fan finally understood. To think that these 6 guys could be this evil. This was truly unexpected. Lin Fan was pondering right now. This woman had a treasure with her. Not only that, the treasure seemed pretty extraordinary as well. Well, of course, Lin Fan himself wasn't all innocent about stuff like killing others and snatching their treasures. However, all of those people he had killed were baddies. This woman wasn't a bad person. If he were to kill her and snatch her treasure, that would be pretty immoral. However, if he were to rescue her and let a plan follow through, who knew she might return the favor with herself as the reward or the treasure? This wasn't entirely impossible either. This was a deal that he could accept. And just as Lin Fan was contemplating about this stuff, the situation at the battlefield changed. The man in the realm state suddenly went berserk and opened up his realm. Indeed, this man's realm was pretty unique. Within it, there were many children from the thousands of races. They looked entirely innocent, but Lin Fan knew that all of these children were just putting on a pure facade. However, the shocking thing was that this woman was beginning to hesitate as she changed her tactics into just dodging and shunning everything, without striking out at the children. What in the world was going on right now? She couldn't be some sort of a Mother Teresa figure, could she? Savage, to think that you would use these children to cultivate your realm. Are you even a being of the thousands of races? How can you be crueler than the ancient race beings? The reason why Fairy Hongyun could not bear to strike at these children that she was encountering in the realm was because all of these children were physical existences. Just as Fairy Hongyun was in her moment of anguish, a child appeared behind her and slapped out. Instantly, this child transformed into Wan Wujun. Hee, to think that it would be this easy. Had I known that this would be the case, I would have long taken you down, B*TCH. Won Woojun had not expected this B*TCH to go easy on these kids as he burst out into laughter at the thought of it. Back when he had broken into Divine Celestial Level 2, realm state, he had felt some regrets over the state of his realm, feeling that it wasn't as grandiose and splendid as some others. However, right now, he was realizing the true strength of his realm. A stream of blood flowed down from Fairy Hongyun's lips. Evidently, the injury was serious, as her aura began to wither gradually. Boss, don't cripple this B*TCH. Otherwise, it wouldn't feel as pleasurable later on. A bald man remarked in jeer. Hee. A sinister laugh broke out from all 6 of them. You guys are merciless. To think that you would slay these innocent children. Fairy Hongyun glared at Won Woojun with hatred. Feeling pained over these children, her eyes were reddening as well. By now, Lin Fan was starting to understand everything. But what he could not understand was how this benevolent and kind chick could remain alive up till now. But, by the looks of the situation, this was about the time for yours truly to show up. Hee. Little B*TCH, we're about to get more merciless from here on. With that, Won Woojun grabbed out with his hand at Fairy Hongyun. As though it possessed some form of demonic power, this hand of his spun in circles like a cocoon being spun out of silk, as it was about to peel everything off Fairy Hongyun. Haha, our boss's ultimate move is here. This B*TCH is going to present herself in her bare nudeness before us soon. Holy FCK, the ultimate move of bare nudeness. The moment Lin Fan heard about this ultimate move, he almost exploded. Strike, he must definitely strike now. He must definitely not let a savage move such as this exist and show its face in the world. He had to keep it hidden in his arsenal, lest the masses are harmed by it. Instantly, Lin Fan moved his body nimbly, as an imposing aura appeared between the heaven and earth. Looking at that demonic arm, Fairy Hongyun could feel her heart thumping faster. She had suddenly felt her body being sealed and freezing up, without being able to move a single inch. Despair. Right now, Fairy Hongyun was beginning to feel despair. Death wasn't scary. However, if she were to let these guys ravish her, that would be a fate even worse than death. Under broad daylights and the watchful eyes of the heavens, how dare the 6 of you spout out such dirty speeches? This is really a disgrace to the morals of the world. Suddenly, a voice boomed out. As though it couldn't resist the force of this voice, that demonic arm of Won Woojun began to rip apart and disintegrate. A formidable power rattled through the entire field. Chapter 557. Little kids, recite after your king here. Chapter 557. Little kids, recite after your king here. Who's there? Won Woojun's face froze up. If the sonic boom could destroy his demonic arm, this powerhouse must definitely not be underestimated. However, he was that close to success right now. How could he allow anyone to interfere? Won Woojun cast a look at the 5 other people surrounding him. Immediately, all 5 of them nodded their heads and moved out into the distance, forming a circular cage formation. May I know who you are, sir? Do you intend to go against us of the Evil Alliance? Looking at the figure up in the void, Won Woojun asked in a grim tone. The moment Fairy Hongyun heard the 2 words, Evil Alliance, her face changed as well. The Evil Alliance was well known throughout the entire ancient saint world. This was an alliance formed by many evil beings of the thousands of races, who would stop at nothing to commit their heinous crimes. Their forces were spread out across the entire ancient saint world. On the other hand, the leader of the Evil Alliance was someone who was extremely mysterious. No one knew who he was. However, all they knew was that there was once a combined assault on the Evil Alliance. The outcome of it was extremely terrible. Without even managing to catch a sight of the Evil Alliance's leader, they lost their entire forces with just a single heavenly crushing gigantic arm of his. To Lin Fan, it didn't matter whether this was the Evil Alliance or whatever they were called. The most important thing right now was to obtain that ultimate move, Bare Nudeness, into his hands for safekeeping. He had to ensure that a skill like this, which would disrupt the natural order of the world, disappeared entirely. Furthermore, given the current situation, there was a silly, pretty, rich, and weak woman who was about to fall prey into the hands of such evil men. As a righteous warrior, how could he not render his assistance at this critical moment? Lin Fan had to resist the urge to tell everyone, let go of that girl. I'll do it. The moment Fairy Hongyun caught sight of that figure in the void, her heart rattled a little. What an immensely superior and elegant aura this man possessed. Evil Alliance and whatnot, all of you degenerates shall pay for your sins of today with death. Lin Fan's face was as per usual, as his image spiked to its peak with the current situation. Dear gentlemen, please be careful. The combined formation of these 6 people is really powerful. Fairy Hongyun warned Lin Fan warily. While she could not tell the cultivation state of this man, she could tell from his manners that he was an extraordinary man. At the same time, he was filled with righteousness in every single action of his. If he were to die an unfortunate death because he did not know of the strength of these 6 people, that would be a real pity. HMPH. To think that you would still dare to be so cocky at death's door. Wan Wujun cried out in anger as he bolted out towards Fairy Hongyun, intending to take her down as quickly as possible. The moment Lin Fan saw this, he exploded too. These guys were way too impudent. To think that they would dare to strike even in the presence of yours truly. They were truly looking down on yours truly. And to think that this chick would call him a gentleman. This was the first time he had heard anyone referring to him that during his entire duration in the pugilistic world. Her voice was pretty sweet as well, giving one a really mushy feel. Instantly, Lin Fan's body shifted and appeared right before Fairy Hongyun. Slapping out, he diffused Wan Wujun's attack entirely. Wan Wujun's eyes shone brightly as he hollered, "Strike!" The heaven and earth, suppressed from every single direction. Instantly, all 6 of them emitted a golden glow from their body as they delved right into the void. Weaving together, they converged down on Lin Fan. Dear gentlemen, please watch out. This is a unique sealing formation from the 6 of them. Fairy Hongyun called out hurriedly. HMPH. Seems like this B** teaches got some knowledge here and there as well. This 6-man sealing formation is a special move used by the Evil Alliance to trap our enemies. Within this great formation of ours, even if it were a powerful being who was in the paradise state, they wouldn't be able to break out of it either. Wan Wujun burst out in laughter. Lady there, do not fear. Lin Fan's face was calm right now. However, the fact that this young lady's face was looking tense was something that Lin Fan attributed to her lack of trust towards him. Emptiness sword will. Lin Fan raised his hand. Instantly, the entire sky was filled with a formless sword will, as though it had turned into a world of swords. This steady sword will pierced through the void. It was formless and invisible, and there was no way one could tell anything with their naked eyes at all. The faces of the 6 people from the Evil Alliance froze up. Even though they could not see the sword wills at all, the razor-sharp sword wills were stacked above their bodies like mountains, pressuring down on them. Arg! Suddenly, a series of tragic cries rang out. 5 of the enemies from the Evil Alliance were instantly sliced apart by the sword wills, without being able to resist at all. With that, the 6-man defensive formation broke apart instantly. Suddenly, Wan Wujun could feel a killing intent. His face crumpled up as he blared out. Realm. With Wan Wujun as the center, a pitch-black light screen started spreading outward in a circular fashion, as though it was about to swallow the entire atmosphere within. Fairy Hongyun was shocked as well on looking at how the man before her could kill 5 men with just a single raise of his arm. To think that this man would be this strong. However, the moment she noticed Wan Wujun unleashing his realm, her face turned pale, as though she didn't want to see that scene from earlier ever again. Bloody B** starred, how dare you kill members of the Evil Alliance? From this day forth, no one within this world will be able to save you from our wrath. Wan Wujun howled out, to think that this man before him would be this strong. That sword will from earlier was really suspicious, without any form or body. However, the moment he unleashed his realm, he could sense a series of cutting sword wills slicing into his realm. Like the way moths were attracted to a flame, countless children leapt forth towards those sword wills, using their bodies as shields. Haha, I'm utter invincible within my realm. With all of my ghost toddlers forming an impenetrable wall, it's way too early for someone like you to even think of killing me. Wan Wujun lashed out. If this man before him could kill 5 divine celestial level 1 true state beings with a single move of his hands, that strength must definitely be of a divine celestial level 2 realm state. At this moment, Wan Wujun knew that he couldn't beat the enemy in terms of strength, especially so with Fairy Hongyun around. If the both of them were to combine forces, he would definitely perish right here. No, he couldn't let that happen, no matter what. He definitely needed to find a way to escape out of this place alive and report this back to the Alliance, so that they could people down to hunt these 2. Trying to run. At this moment, Lin Fan discovered Wan Wujun's intent to run. Smirking coldly, he activated his own realm as well. Lin Fan had not thought up of a good name for his realm just yet. However, no matter what, he would have to give it a really domineering name. Lin Fan's realm began to expand rapidly, encompassing Wan Wujun within it almost immediately. The moment Fairy Hongyun caught sight of this realm, she frowned. She had a wide knowledge about the world, and therefore knew of all the realms that existed within this world. However, this was the first time she was witnessing a realm such as this. Complex, yet filled with mysterious marvels. This realm was shrouded in a mist, as though it was created by the heavens. However, through the mist, Fairy Hongyun could catch sight of various deity spirits seated within. N-O-V-E in .C Om. Red, black, and purple. The myriad of colors was enough to confuse one's vision. Just how in the world was this realm formed? What? How is this possible? Just what in the world is this realm? Wan Wujun's face was losing color rapidly as he realized that his realm was being devoured by this expanding realm rapidly without any bit of resistance. Infinite soul-devouring toddlers. Wan Wujun hollered out as the massive number of children within his realm began to growl malevolently while they struck at Lin Fan and Fairy Hongyun menacingly. Once again, Fairy Hongyun's face froze up as her body shuddered slightly in fear. She wasn't afraid of Wan Wujun. However, she couldn't bear to strike down at these children. The thought of what would happen if she did caused her heart to clench in pain. All of you shall die under the might of my infinite soul-devouring toddlers. Wan Wujun was thoroughly riled right now. He was bent on having these two die under his might. Lin Fan grinned calmly, "I'll hand the show over to you now." Instantly, Lin Fan's realm vibrated within itself as a tuft of smoke began to spread out. Instantly, the Thunder Trainer King appeared before the countless toddlers that were swarming forth. "Ha, here I was, thinking about how strong your realm could be. To think that it's just a single bald-headed kid. What can he even do?" Wan Wujun could not resist his laughter. His battle intent soared up into the sky as this invigorated his fighting spirit and confidence. However, Wan Wujun's assumption was shattered almost immediately. That bald-headed kid wielded a thunder-filled whip in his hands. With a single crack of his whip, a flash of lightning burst forth. All of those malevolent toddlers suddenly froze up and stood on the spot blankly, as though they were bewitched. Wan Wujun was absolutely stunned as he screamed immediately thereafter, "Go, strike!" However, no matter how hard Wan Wujun tried to regain his control over them, those malevolent toddlers remained rooted, as though they were struck by some immobilizing skill. Gradually, those menacing looks on the uncountable toddlers began to change. They turned gentler. Before long, they were smiling with purity and innocence. Next up, Wan Wujun's jaws could practically drop seeing what happened after. The Thunder Trainer King opened up his mouth calmly, "All right now, little kids. Recite after your king here. People at birth are naturally good, kind-hearted." Suddenly, Lin Fan's face changed as well. How in the world did the Thunder Trainer King know this **T? Chapter 558, Thunder Trainer King's Academy of Electroconvulsive Therapy. Chapter 558, Thunder Trainer King's Academy of Electroconvulsive Therapy. People at birth are naturally good. Their natures are similar, but their habits make them different. All of these ghost children began to recite phrase after phrase. With that, the vengefulness that was brooding in their hearts gradually dissipated. At the same time, those pitch-black clothes they were wearing slowly turned into a shade of pure white. With that, something even more shocking happened. From out of thin air, desks appeared one by one, and a book appeared on each of them. The cover of this book was none other than the 3-character classic. Holy FCK, what in the world is going on right now? Lin Fan was totally stumped. This had gone way beyond his expectations. What the hell was happening within his realm right now? Even though this realm was evidently created by him, why in the world couldn't he understand a single **T at all? This was way too incredulous. This wasn't even the tip of the iceberg just yet. One by one, all of the ghost children sat down on their desks while wearing these pure white student robes of ancient times. Carrying the 3-character classic in their hands, they began to recite out the text while swaying their heads left and right. Those malicious expressions of theirs began to purify into one of immaculate innocence. At the same time, beams of bright light began to flow out from these ghost children. Fusing together, they culminated into a river and flowed towards the Thunder Trainer King. This is the karma of redemption. At this moment, Fairy Hongyun was stunned. She had not expected a mysterious power such as the karma of redemption to exist on the face of this world. Karma of redemption. Lin Fan's brows creased as well, not really understanding where Fairy Hongyun was going along with that. Legends have it that the ancient saint world has been around for a really long time now. Through the countless of millenniums, numerous civilizations have existed. The karma of redemption is a power that existed a really long time ago. To think that it would still exist after such a long period of time has passed. In fact, even those modern beings of the Buddha race wouldn't be able to comprehend the karma of redemption themselves. Fairy Hongyun exclaimed in shock. How do you know about it? Lin Fan asked suspiciously. I read about it from books. She looked over at Lin Fan and replied. At that moment, a strange phenomenon occurred. A bright burst of light filled up the entire realm as the sky boomed out loudly. 12 unusual-looking incense of redemption appeared on the head of the Thunder Trainer King. These incense of redemption burned while emanating a really invigorating and fragrant scent. With that, a hand of redemption appeared out of nowhere as well. Holding up the 12 incense of redemption together, the hand dotted the lit part of the incenses at the head of the Thunder Trainer King. Suddenly, 12 burned scars appeared on the head of the Thunder Trainer King. However, the moment these burned scars appeared, yet another weird phenomenon happened in the air. The world was filled with golden lotuses while Buddhist tunes rang through the sky. The moment anyone heard these, their spirits felt instantly lifted. The Thunder Trainer King had turned holy all of a sudden, as a rainbow-colored divine light appeared on the back of his head. To think that this is the Bodhisattva discipline. The moment Fairy Hongyun caught sight of this, she was trembling entirely, unable to stay still any longer. On the other hand, Lin Fan was utterly confused. How in the hell would he know what a Bodhisattva discipline was? This is symbolic of the highest order of the Buddha race, and represents its infinite potential, infinite wisdom, infinite heart of redemption, infinite power. Fairy Hongyun was explaining something that had never ever happened in history. However, Lin Fan didn't understand a single hoot about what she was talking about. The only thing he could get out of her explanation was this: Thunder Trainer King was going to be FC King strong soon. Lin Fan had not expected the Thunder Trainer King to be capable of such feats. This was something he had never once thought about before. At this moment, the Thunder Trainer King started moving. Raising that tender hand of his, a flash of Buddha light appeared in the realm. From that, a majestic-looking academy appeared. However, the most jaw-dropping thing for Lin Fan was that a tablet was erected right at the entrance of this academy. Thunder Trainer King's Academy of Electroconvulsive Therapy. And, the tagline was this: you deserve it. Holy FCK, isn't this going towards the cruel, exploitative methods of that B***starred, Yang Yangshin? Lin Fan broke out into a cold sweat. This was simply too damned nefarious. Little kiddos, come over to the light. Come forth into the new era, into this academy, where you shall receive the education of love from your king here. The Thunder Trainer King called out solemnly. Yes, King. All of those innocent and nubile kids kept their books and folded their desks. As though they were converted, they entered that unknown academy. Suddenly, Lin Fan realized something terrifying. Just as the Thunder Trainer King was turning around, his lips curled into a sinister and beastly grin. This, Lin Fan did not dare to imagine any longer. He could not bear to think about the sort of education these kids would receive upon entering that mysterious academy. How could this be? How could all my children there break free of my control? Suddenly, Wan Wujun broke out in anger with reddened eyes. He could not believe everything right before his face. The moment all his children left for that academy, Wan Wujun realized that his realm was completely useless now with the loss of all those children. Just who in the world was this guy? What was that beam of light from earlier? Wan Wujun broke down. His heart was bleeding right now. To think that this realm that he had so painstakingly built would be destroyed by some unknown bald-headed kid. How could he endure this at all? Oh, poor lamb who has lost your way. Are you willing to receive your king's education of love as well? Just as the Thunder Trainer King was about to enter his academy, he realized that the security guard room at the entrance of his academy was empty. Because of that, he stopped in his tracks and turned around to look at Wan Wujun. Damn it, damn it. Wan Wujun was thoroughly riled right now as he howled out malevolently, I'm going to kill you. Looking at everything before him, Lin Fan felt that he did not have to do anything anymore. It was as though he had truly handed over the whole show to the Thunder Trainer King right from the very start. At this moment, that stern and solemn Thunder Trainer King shook his head, highs. If I don't enter hell, who would? Since you wish to kill me, your king here shall let you kill me then. All I can hope for is that you would be able to find your way back before you lose yourself entirely in that endless abyss. Find back your true self, your true heart. Look back for the kindness you once had in your heart and diffuse all of your hatred within. Let your king here bear all your burdens. November LBJNN. The moment Lin Fan heard these words of the Thunder Trainer King, his brows twitched. Plot. This was without a single doubt a plot. How dare you snatch over my infinite children and destroy my realm? I shall take your life. Wang Wujun howled out in anger as he darted out towards the Thunder Trainer King in a frenzy. Looking at Wang Wujun, the Thunder Trainer King's face was unchanging. Placing his palms together, a bright Buddha light appeared instantly. This Buddha light shone through the entire realm and caged up Wang Wujun within it. Suddenly, Wang Wujun was beginning to realize that the bald-headed kid before his very eyes was beginning to grow in size and holiness. As though it was being chipped away by something, Wang Wujun felt the malice within his heart diminishing by the second. Lin Fan frowned. Just what in the world was this fella up to? However, something that stumped Lin Fan happened again once more. The moment that menacing Wang Wujun reached the face of the Thunder Trainer King, his face changed drastically, as though he was filled with immense regrets. With a single thud, he collapsed to his knees before the Thunder Trainer King. "Oh, King, I have sinned gravely. I am willing to receive that noble and selfless education of love of yours." Wang Wujun was repenting sincerely right at the feet of the Thunder Trainer King at this very moment. And with that came the final blow. The Thunder Trainer King fondled Wang Wujun's head fondly and gently. "Enter my Thunder Trainer King's Academy for Electroconvulsive Therapy. I guarantee that you'll turn over a new leaf. From this day forth, you shall be reborn as a brand new man. Follow my teachings, come on." "Yes. ... Lin Fan's jaws dropped straight down to the ground. Just what in the bloody hell was happening right now? This was nothing as he had imagined. What the FCK was going on with his realm? How did it produce things like these? Chapter 559, Fire Water Secret Grounds. Chapter 559, Fire Water Secret Grounds. My ultimate technique. Bear Nudenis. Looking at Wang Wujun following the Thunder Trainer King into the academy, Lin Fan suddenly recalled this issue of unparalleled importance. Why the hell had he bothered leaving Wang Wujun alive till the end? It was all for that ultimate move, Bear Nudenis. But now that Wang Wujun had been converted by this Thunder Trainer King, Lin Fan would definitely fight it out with the Thunder Trainer King if he couldn't get a hold of that ultimate move later on. Just as Lin Fan was busy contemplating about all this stuff, Fairy Hongyun's face was completely petrified. Even though she had a wide knowledge about things, this was truly the first time she had encountered a realm like this. A realm which possessed a consciousness of its own. How could this be possible? And, to think that there would be such a bizarre spirit residing within the realm. But, little did Fairy Hongyun know that the Thunder Trainer King wasn't the only spirit that was residing within the realm. There was also the spirit of Bigra, and all sorts of other nonsensical spirits. This was a bloody strong realm, way too bloody strong. November LBJNN. At this moment, Lin Fan was trying to communicate telepathically with the Thunder Trainer King secretly, for him to hand over that ultimate move, Bear Nudenis. This time around, the Thunder Trainer King had taken nearly every single benefit there was to it. Even though Lin Fan had killed 5 Divine Celestial Level 1, True State beings, the experience points received were not much. The thing that Lin Fan was coveting the most was that ultimate move of Wang Wujun. But right now, Lin Fan was pretty upset. The damn Thunder Trainer King wasn't replying to him at all. However, when Lin Fan looked over, he realized that the Thunder Trainer King was in the secret chamber, happily training up Wang Wujun. His methods of training were extremely cruel. It was as though the Thunder Trainer King was utterly relishing this precious moment after not conducting training for a long period of time. My sincerest gratitude for your life-saving act, dear gentleman. Could I inquire for your great name, gentleman? Breaking out of her stupor, Fairy Hongyun asked Lin Fan thankfully. For the moment, Lin Fan decided to let the Thunder Trainer King be. He would wait till the Thunder Trainer King was done with training the other fella before asking for that skill. Right now, he should settle the matter at hand. This woman had a big treasure with her. Lin Fan wondered how incredible the treasure must be. I am Lin Fan. It is in my blood to render my assistance towards any injustice I come across in this world. Lady, we can make do with the formalities and thanks. Lin Fan waved his hand dismissively. However, he was busy thinking about how he should put his words across so that he could find out just what that treasure was. Curiosity would kill the cat indeed. Forget it, it's better to cut to the chase and ask her straight up. Lady, I've noticed that these people were hunting you. It seemed as though the reason was due to this strange treasure that you were holding. Don't take this the wrong way now, but I'm just a naturally curious person. Hence, I'm really interested to find out more about it. I don't mean anything else. Lin Fan explained hurriedly, just in case the other party would think that he was a bad person as well. After all, how could someone as righteous as yours truly be categorized together with those greedy lowlifes? Not expecting Lin Fan to be this direct, Fairy Hongyun chuckled out as well. Gentleman Lin, you've overthought things. Han Yun here has never once thought of you as someone as greedy as them. Fairy Han Yun laughed out. This is the treasure they were trying to snatch away from me. With that, Fairy Han Yun held out a talisman paper. Immediately afterward, she began to explain without any bit of wariness towards Lin Fan at all. This talisman paper isn't any treasure of sorts. It is merely a directional talisman used to detect secret grounds. Secret grounds directional talisman. Lin Fan was puzzled right now. Weren't all the secret grounds in the ancient saint world controlled by the ancient race? How was there something like this out there? At the same time, Lin Fan was thoroughly impressed with the trusting nature of Fairy Han Yun. She must possess some form of impossible luck for her to be able to survive this long in this world without a single bit of cautiousness. Dear gentlemen, you're laughing at how Han Yun does not have a single shred of cautiousness in her heart, right? Just as Lin Fan was thinking about everything, Fairy Han Yun spoke up. Ah, no, of course not. How could that be? Lin Fan's face changed immediately as he replied in an upright manner, as though he was someone of immaculate morals. It's all right, kind gentlemen. Han Yun has had this special sense since she was young. Even though Han Yun can sense that you've got a ferocious aura around you, I know that you would only employ that aura to kill off the ancient race beings. As such, Han Yun knows that you're a good person. Han Yun replied. Lin Fan was stunned. To think that there could be someone in this world who could sense out good and bad people. However, to Lin Fan, the difference between good and bad people lied in their ideals and beliefs. Because of that, their motives were naturally different as well. Coming from another angle, be it good or bad people, everyone was just trying to craft out a better life for themselves. Alright then, but, you don't have to continue referring to me as a gentleman. It's fine to just call me Lin Fan. Lin Fan continued. Alright, then please just refer to me as Han Yun, gentleman. Fairy Han Yun smiled. Han Yun, Lin Fan, haha, looking at one another in the eye, the both of them burst out into laughter. There are a total of 8 of these talisman papers. I'm only holding on to one of them. The others are with my sect members. I wonder if they've discovered the fire-water secret ground yet. Fairy Han Yun pondered. Fire-water secret ground, that's right, that's the burial ground for the fire-water emperor. A long time ago, the fire-water emperor was a heaven-defying powerful being. He was an unparalleled fighter who was able to wield the true 2 great powers of fire and water. He eventually died within the heaven and earth in a seated position, leaving this burial ground behind. Even the ancient race themselves don't know about this place. Fairy Han Yun explained. The moment Lin Fan heard the 4 words, heaven-defying powerful being, his interest was piqued immediately. Stuff like secret grounds and whatnot was what Lin Fan enjoyed the most. Especially when they were the burial grounds of a heaven-defying powerful being. However, he did not know what cultivation state this fire-water emperor was at, nor did he know of the sort of treasures that were hidden within this secret ground. Having once been FCKED over in the A*S by that dog, 7 Saint, Lin Fan did not hold much expectation towards powerful beings and their burial grounds. However, for someone like him who had an invincible system, it would not be easy for these fellas to FCK him ever entirely as well. Let's head there together, shall we? If we've got one more person entering the fire-water secret ground with us, we'll have one more pair of hands to help out everyone. Fairy Han Yun invited. That doesn't sound like it'll be really appropriate, does it? Of course, Lin Fan was raring to go right now. However, if he were to just follow them in just like this, wouldn't her sect members be filled with objections? It's alright. The secret ground is immensely huge, with countless treasures. Everything depends on one's affinity and encounters. Some people could search the entire secret grounds and meet 0 encounters, only to return empty-handed. On the other side, those who could meet with encounters would find treasures even if they were standing still on a spot. Therefore, personally, I do not subscribe to such biases. It's just that. Fairy Han Yun smiled. However, her sect members might not think in the same manner as her. Looking at Fairy Han Yun, Lin Fan was elated as well. This was a really sensible way of thinking. Without further formalities, Lin Fan headed into the distance with Fairy Han Yun. Fire-water secret grounds, fire-water emperor. Just the names alone were enough for Lin Fan to tell of their grandiose. He could only hope that anything awaiting him within wouldn't be a disappointment. At the same time, he wondered about the number of people from Fairy Han Yun's sect that would arrive. If there were too many of them, there could be some trouble. After all, being the lone outsider, he would definitely be ostracized no matter what. Chapter 560, The Coquettish King. Chapter 560, The Coquettish King. They flew for the entire journey. Fairy Han Yun's speed was pretty slow. However, noticing how energetically she was leading the way, Lin Fan did not disturb her at all. At this moment, Lin Fan was busy communicating with the Thunder Trainer King. To his surprise, the Thunder Trainer King was extremely relaxed at this moment. He was busy explaining the great wisdom of life to those toddlers he had trained. Hand over Wan Wujun's ultimate move. Lin Fan was thoroughly exasperated with the Thunder Trainer King. To think that this fellow would grow to this extent. And this was all thanks to the system. The system bore a consciousness for all of these skills. Not only that, all of these consciousnesses were really sly and crafty. Previously, you wouldn't even let me toy with the Sovereign King Wei for a move or two. Even though it was said that the Thunder Trainer King had obtained a Bodhisattva discipline, he didn't have any holy disposition in the face of Lin Fan. Right now, he was more like a brat that was fuming over not getting what he wanted. Holy FCK, this little shit's bearing grudges now. Lin Fan was thoroughly speechless right now. To think that the Thunder Trainer King would keep the grudge from back then up till now. Sovereign King Wei was such a horrifying existence. How would Lin Fan dare to take a chance with that? If he were to suddenly retaliate in the midst of training and went straight for his throat, he would have been the one responsible for his own death due to his arrogance. Be good now and hand over that ultimate move to me. Lin Fan replied in a nice tone. No, since you're selfish against me, I'll be selfish against you too. The Thunder Trainer King tossed down his head. Oh, this guy's getting out of hand. Lin Fan thought in his heart, thoroughly helpless by now. This was a good case of, spare the rod, spoil the child. Be obedient now and hand it over. I promise that if I meet with a similar type in the future, I'll definitely let you train him up. Lin Fan continued, somewhat impatient now. No, I don't believe you. I don't believe you at all. Your king here doesn't trust in your words at all. The Thunder Trainer King shook his head and acted coquettishly. At this moment, Lin Fan couldn't bear with it any longer. This little brat was going off the hooks right now. Do you believe me if I say that I'll hang you up to whip if you don't hand it over right now? Lin Fan was angered right now. This Thunder Trainer King was going overboard right now. To think that he would even dare to bargain with Lin Fan and flirt coquettishly. The little bald-headed pervert he was, and he wanted to act bullshitty before yours truly. As though he was scared silly by Lin Fan, that solemn and holy expression of the Thunder Trainer King disappeared immediately. Instantly, those big, round eyes welled up with tears as he suddenly broke into a bawl. Boo-hoo, you've scared me, I'm never ever going to bother with you ever again. Coiling his thunder whip around his body, the Thunder Trainer King tossed a secret book over to Lin Fan before running off to his academy while twerking his bum. Holy FCK, Lin Fan could take it no longer. To think that a little bald-headed pervert, whose only passion came from training others, would have such a side to him. Holding on to this move that he had been coveting for a long time now, a grin curled up on Lin Fan's lips. HMPH, small time. Bargain with me, if I'm not stern with him, he'll definitely go over my head one day. Boo-hoo, you suck, I'm going to have to go train them up to soothe my heart now. A sorrowful voice came out of those tightly shut doors of the Thunder Trainer King's Academy of Electroconvulsive Therapy. Lin Fan sniggered gently, disregarding him entirely. Ding, congratulations on discovering skill, Bear Nudenus. Learn. Lin Fan did not hesitate at all. After all, he was the only one suitable to keep such an immoral and savage skill guarded from the rest of the world. There was no way he could let this skill out loose to harm the masses. As a highly responsible man, this was naturally the task that he had to bear. Even though Lin Fan had learned this skill, it was still at a pretty low level, because he had never used it before. As such, its power level was pretty low too. However, Lin Fan believed that he could definitely glorify this skill one day with his hard work and efforts. When he turned around to look at Fairy Hongyun, a thought ran through his head. However, he dismissed it almost immediately. Beastly, that was way too beastly. How could he bear such immoral thoughts? We'll arrive at the location in half a day's time. Fairy Hongyun informed him. All right, Lin Fan nodded his head. Initially, he wanted to fly even faster than this. However, this was the first time they were meeting with one another, and weren't too familiar just yet. If he were to drag her along on a hasty flight right after meeting her, he might cause her to feel irritated, thinking that he was belittling her. Therefore, Lin Fan did not rush at all and followed her snail speed. Half a day later, we're here, it's right ahead. Just as Lin Fan was about to fall asleep, Fairy Hongyun's voice rang out. He raised his head, wondering where they had flown to. However, the sight before him did leave Lin Fan somewhat bewildered. Within the skies, which were red and blue, there existed this long and endless river that was rumbling while emitting off a strange aura. Back when I was here previously, it wasn't like this. How did things change to this? Fairy Hongyun's brows were creased, unable to comprehend the changes before her. Lin Fan's face focused up slightly as he made preparations to face a battle. Since Fairy Hongyun had said that there was a change, something must have happened. After all, secret grounds were no ordinary places. It was hard to say whether any situation was unfolding nearby. Hold up. Just as Fairy Hongyun was ready to dart forth, Lin Fan held her back with a single hand. Fairy Hongyun's hands were smooth and tender, as though there were no bones in them. However, at this moment, Lin Fan could not be bothered with such things. Something was amiss up ahead. It's the ancient race. The moment she caught sight of what was happening, Fairy Hongyun's face changed as she tensed up. Up in the distance, a group of ancient race beings was gathered. Entering that blurry light screen, they disappeared from the face of the world. On the ground up ahead were many corpses lying around. There were some from the ancient race, and some from other races. Seems like the ancient race has discovered this secret ground too, Lin Fan remarked. How could it be? Fairy Hongyun's face was stunned, apparently in disbelief. After the ancient race beings entered the light screen, Lin Fan brought Fairy Hongyun with her to their intended destination from earlier on. Evidently, a battle had broken out here. However, this battle shouldn't have lasted for a long time. It was clear that the ancient race beings must have followed Fairy Hongyun's sect members tightly right after they entered the place. Junior brothers, junior sisters. Looking at the corpses around her, Fairy Hongyun's face was really pale as her heart thumped heavily. After all, her junior brothers and junior sisters were still fine and dandy earlier on. Looking at their cold, lifeless corpses lying around, this was a really severe blow to her mentally. Are your sect members all here? Lin Fan asked. No, my senior sisters and senior brothers are not here. This time around, there were a total of 30 of us. Fairy Hongyun replied. Lin Fan made a quick count. There were only 6 corpses here. If that were the case, the rest of them must be within that secret ground. Suddenly, Lin Fan's brows twitched. He could sense the aura of the ancient race from a distance. November LBJNN. Let's go in first. There are more ancient race beings arriving. Pulling onto Fairy Hongyun, the both of them leapt into the blurry light screen and disappeared from the world as well. Pishu, Pishu. Suddenly, a few figures appeared right where Lin Fan was just seconds earlier. There were 3 of them. Seems like the signal was transmitted from over here. This is a new secret ground. All those beings from the other races must have already entered within. Let us chase after them. One of the ancient race beings commented. They had received the signal from their fellow ancient race beings to find out about this secret ground. Therefore, they headed right here without any hesitation at all. Soon after them, a gigantic army of ancient race beings would head over to occupy and gain control over this secret ground, so that no other beings of the thousands of races would be able to enter. With that, those 3 ancient race beings entered the fire-water secret grounds as well. Right after the 3 of them entered, the void vibrated gently as yet another group of figures appeared. These figures were not of the ancient race, but of the other races. To think that this would be the secret ground that the beings of the cloud race had been searching for. Let's go in and seek the treasures. Be it ancient race beings or those of the cloud race, we'll kill anyone we meet.